All right. I asked you how you think the game's going with the Rockies.
And I said 7-0 fourth.
End of 5, 7-2. Losing.
7-2. Well, I thought I had him lose.
You ready for Antonio Sensatella's line?
Let me guess it.
You're going to love this one. Let me set this up. Let me set it up before you guess. Let me set this up. I'll get to that. I can't forget that. I got to remember that. Yesterday, 2.0. Oren Schaefer. 2.0 is 2.0 because it's just Bud Black 2.0. There's no difference, as it turns out, unfortunately. He was asked last time they used Sensatella because he's so terrible in the first inning, but he was actually kind of okay last game because they used Rollison as an opener to pitch one inning, and Sensatella came in as the virtual starter in the second inning.
Long relief.
I like that. It's a cool, different way to approach a game.
Play with the guy's head a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of like it. So 2.0, after last night's tragic loss, was asked, are you going to do the same thing? And he goes, well, the way our bullpen is right now, we can't even try it. And I laughed. I'm like, like it was a good, cool idea. Just do it again. I mean, you don't have one guy in your bullpen to pitch one inning to open the game. Really? Sensatella's line. Go ahead. Guess Sensatella's line today.
Two-thirds of inning, 3 walks, 5 hits. 6 hits.
Well, you're forgetting something. They have by 2.0's admission, they have no relief pitching.
Right.
So I'll let you start again because you got to know, Scott. The manager's admitting we have no available relief pitching. So
2 innings.
Okay.
7 runs. 8 hits.
You're pretty close. 4 innings.
Oh, you got 4 in. Well, there you go.
9 hits.
Off one.
7 runs. And 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, gave up a bomb. Sensatella, like I knew they were going to lose today because he is so bad. Like I have no idea. And he throws mid to upper 90s.
What happened to him, though?
I don't know, but he might be, of all the terrible players for the Rockies, or all the players on the Rockies, period, on the world's worst team, he might be the worst player on the team. That's how, I don't know what happened to him. But there's nobody on the team right now who's as bad at his job at baseball than Sensatella is for the Rockies, on the worst team ever. That's how bad he is as a pitcher. And I actually don't have an answer to that. Like, I think you could bring up almost anybody, and it would be somewhat better than Antonio Sensatella right now. He is that bad.
Can you move him at all? Or is that a straight cut?
No, you got.
Didn't he get extended a few years ago?
I don't know. I have no idea. He wasn't always this bad, but whatever. I don't know what has happened to this dude, but he sucks at pitching. And this is a game right now. I mean, who knows? It's Coors Field. Crazy things happen, but you're down 5 runs. At least you were competitive in the last 2 games. So you got Sensatella on the mound. It's a quick turnaround. This one, it's 7-2. This one would not surprise me if it finishes up, Scotty, like, 13-5, something along those lines. This is a game that there's nothing to break down. This is a game where you suck and they're better than you, which was always the case. That's why when they blow games they possibly could win, it hurts a little bit more because you're going to get games like this. Ain't no doubt about it. In every series that you play, apparently, except for against the Marlins, you're going to get a game where because you start Antonio Sensatella by your own choice. So you choose to lose every single time you put him on the mound.
He made his debut in 17.
Okay, well, awesome.
You know what he was his rookie year in 17?
No idea.
10-5.
Well, that's pretty good.
6-6 the next year, 11-11 the next year.
Okay.
For this
For
franchise,
the Rockies, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5-3 in his 4th year.
Yeah, you want to check him out this year?
And since 2021, he's gone 4-10, 3-7, 0-1, 0-1. This year, right now, he's 1-10.
I don't know how he won the game. That's a miracle.
He's 1-10. He's about to go 1-11.
Yes, he is. He's terrible, man. He's terrible.
So they extended him somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. Hey, heads up. NHL playoffs on Altitude Sports Radio are powered by Mountain Hyundai. Way to go, Mountain Hyundai. You got the Edmonton Oilers battling for their lives against Florida tonight, and you can hear that 6 p.m. right here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Sorry to bother you with. I'm still going to do my little watch-along thing, but it's going to be quick.
Cincinnati makes $10.1 million a year.
It's something else to be the worst regular player on the worst team ever. That's something. I'm going to have a hard time laying my head down on the pillow knowing that. But I guess you're still a Major League Baseball player, so I don't know. You make $1 million a year or whatever he makes. What does he make a year? He's got to make more than that, actually.
He signed a extension in 22 till 27.
Yeah, how much per?
5 years, 55. So $10,100,000 a year.
This guy makes $10 million a year?
Yeah.
The Rockies would have a better chance if I was pitching for them over Antonio Sensatella. He makes $10 million a year. Look, we were just getting all like, oh my God, Brock Nelson, 7.5 per year. Like, oh my God, like, can you believe that? Sensatella makes $3 million more than Brock Nelson,
and he's about to go 1-11.
Well, I mean, maybe it's not the stupidest thing to pay for pitching lessons when your kid's 10. Give it a shot. Holy cow. I'm telling you, he throws mid-90s, whatever. It's just, I'm grumble. What were you and Andy on the old podcast? What were the big takeaways that you guys had going on?
We talked a little bit of the game. We talked a little bit about this Rocky stuff and how pathetic it is. We talked a lot about the Broncos, what they're going to do and did, and
I'll tell you
and get explained. And I loved what Legwald said on our show, because you said the other day that Vic was getting on me or something, and Brett backed me up when I said it was a boring mini camp or whatever, it was
a good thing.
Which is a good thing, and
yeah.
Legwald just said the same thing. It's funny how good teams have boring mini camps.
I agree,
and I think that's a great sign, and I think some people took it the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it trickier for like he was giving us crap about it too. Like they do write a lot of weird columns on ESPN, but we got to churn up the talk radio stuff too. It's a lot easier doing what we do when things are controversial or kind of a mess or whatever. When things are boring, it's kind of like, well, what do you say? But we just got to keep it real with you. I'm not going to make something up. I don't know if other people doing other shows are just making crap up that just isn't true, or it really isn't that big of a deal. So right now with the Broncos, my overall evaluation of the Broncos from this spring is really good. Like from and picking up J.K. Dobbins, it feels, as a free agent.
This late in the game, too. Because this is late in the game.
Yeah, because we were talking about Dobbins in free agency back in March.
Yeah.
So if
I don't understand this. So they tender him, which was low, because the tender for him was so low that someone was going to get to do like the Broncos did and basically steal him, and if he's still a good player.
Yeah.
I mean, he did miss 4 games last year, and I'm assuming due to injury. But in the 13 that he played, he had over 1,100 yards up from the line of scrimmage and 9 touchdowns rushing.
Yeah, the Chargers, ultimately what they were saying to J.K. Dobbins is, you're our safety school. But we applied to Harvard and, And
they're going to count on a rookie to carry him in that running department.
You're Adams State. I don't know. I don't know what a safety school around here would be.
Safety school.
I didn't want to completely trash CSU right there.
I would say Western State.
Western. Okay, you're Western. That's it.
Did they used to call that Wasted State or something like that?
Well, it's in the middle of nowhere. You ever been out there?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
The Nuggets, I think, had training camp there one time.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. When the George Karl years went all the way
Hey,
out
I love skiing at Crested Butte, but that's 40 minutes away from Western.
Yeah.
What is that town? What's the town right there?
It's a small town.
Montrose?
No, it's not It's on
Gunnison?
Gunnison.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, I got there eventually.
It's KKSE FM HD1 Broomfield, Denver, Boulder. No, overall for the Broncos, really good spring. It ends today, and then it ends with a practice, not some sort of garbage. They brought out some food trucks. Okay, cool. Nate, did you go out there today, or were you?
I did not. No, it was since it was Salt Day, I skipped it.
It was, yeah. Apparently, leggy too. It was a shorter day. But they were going through like.
I made 2 of 3 this week.
They did do like team and 7. They actually had a practice.
Yeah,
they actually did stuff.
Yeah, I agree though. This team's in a good place. They're in a really good place.
Team's in a good place.
Yeah. Make sure Sean Payton finishes his sentence and then ask him about it.
Yeah, don't whatever you do, don't. And we can't.
Genius at work.
We found out it was Tomlinson that actually cut him off on it. So we're like, okay, of all the people out there, Chris, yeah, okay, I got you.
Chris is the best.
He should be like. I feel as though all those years covering George Karl, though, he should be more schooled at allowing the pregnant pause to complete itself. Nobody was better than George Karl at the pregnant pause.
Yeah, but I think with Chris. He doesn't believe in pregnancy.
Fire away.
Chris is no filter.
Yeah.
No filter.
That is
Thomason.
no filter.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's out there.
Dude, hey, talking about with him and George,
there
was some great press conferences with him and George, though, wasn't it?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, there were.
There were great press conferences.
It got salty?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew how to push George's buttons. I mean, he pushed George's buttons. And then we lost Chris to the Vikings for a handful of years, right? He went up in Minnesota.
Well, it was the Rocky Mountain News went away. Because that was Spears was covering the Nuggets for the Post, and then Thomason was the news guy. There's a great anecdote in Adrian Dater's book about a disagreement that the two of them had on the road one night.
Between who? Dater and Thomason?
Spears and Thomason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Disagreement over an Ethernet cable. Back in the days when there was one Ethernet cable in a visiting road media room by which you could file your story, and those two large human beings.
Those are two heavyweights there.
Yeah, that's two giant dudes right there.
Yeah.
Dater's book, there's a chat. It's called Blood Feud. It was about the Avalanche Red Wings rivalry.
Yeah.
And then there's a great chapter in it that was about like the media rivalries that developed first between Denver and Detroit, but then also like the Post and the news and the TV guys and the print guys back in the day. And there was some good stories in there.
The Post and the Rocky, that was a pretty cool rivalry.
It was competitive.
That was fun.
Krieger and Mike Monroe forever and ever before you guys even came around.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are we
that was a rivalry.
We're gonna mix it up a little bit, or are we having some moments?
It was a dislike.
We're way too congenial now. But although there are media people that legitimately hate each other, I know that exists. I'm part of it. But
how many guys hate you
right now?
Yeah, quick count.
Not ever. Right now.
Yeah. At the moment, how many actively hate you?
Probably
besides your co-hosts.
All right. Let me recalculate.
-2.
There's probably 5 right now.
Okay.
That like it's bad.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be an issue.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
But that's only 5.
Only 5?
That's 5 out of what? 50? I don't know how many. What would you say the overall total in the town is?
Yeah, it's a decent.
Are you counting? Are you saying journalists or media people? So we're counting all the muggles.
Oh, well, who's a journalist?
I mean,
what's a journalist anymore,
exactly.
Scott?
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard to define by itself.
Who knows?
5 out of 50. We can say 50.
Yeah, but the 5 it's strong though. It's like
it's visceral.
Really? Like
it's
if we're having this conversation, we've all been in this market a long time.
Sure.
I mean, it's a long time, man, and it's
many years for toe stepping.
At the end of the day, it's probably all a bunch of nothing, and I probably should let it go.
Mm.
But my angriness and bitterness has served me well for a career, so I'm just going to keep leaning into it. Right? Like, if it's not for being angry and bitter and petty, I'm not going to be that funny.
Fear, anger, the dark side of
I kind of feel like
you're
you're taking my brand there, boss.
We were in the same band. I think we still are in the same band. I think we've been taking a hiatus.
In theory, there's a band.
Well, I say we haven't broken up yet, despite your Facebook posts.
Well, we haven't played either.
Well, I know, but that's on you.
You can be on hiatus.
I consider us a hiatus.
A decade hiatus?
It's a decade
Can
hiatus.
you be on hiatus longer than you existed?
Yes,
and we clearly are.
Bands have done it.
You know,
But we played too many times in front of people to not be a real band, though.
we played some cool shows, man. I'll
We
give you
did.
that. We did. The wrestling was wild. We played a wrestling. I wish you'd
That
like
was
that.
so much fun.
Because we actually played an intro song for one of the wrestlers. Remember John's original? Our singer was John.
Yeah.
And so this guy walked, it was just happened to be called Unstoppable. And I think like all the small things, I think he wrote it when he was 15 and we kept playing it well into his adulthood. But the guy came out, did his little pose, and then they went and wrestled.
Yeah, it was fun.
We made $500. We never made $500. We were like, woo!
It's a big gig.
There might have been 300-400 people at that thing.
Not bad.
But for us?
I don't think they were paying attention. You know what else?
Oh,
was
no, nobody
wild?
cared. Nobody
No,
cared.
no,
what
one
we did.
guy cared. Hey, the only time, because we played the song Damn It from Blink-182,
Yeah.
he actually was into it. There's one dude into it. I'm like, you know
right.
what?
That's right.
You know what? That one guy's been into it more than anybody. I've done my job.
Scott saw us live.
Salute to
I
you,
did.
one guy.
And
no,
just-
he didn't. He missed us.
No,
No,
he
he
was
didn't.
I
there.
came in for your last song and a half, but I just missed Scotty's Revenge.
No, Scotty doesn't know. We played it
Scotty doesn't
specifically
know
for you, and you weren't
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
One guy lost his mind to that. I was
We
like, wow, you know
learned
this song?
Who else covers Scotty doesn't know?
No, but these guys. No, we got to play at Herman's Hideaway. That was pretty cool.
Several
That's
times.
where it was when I saw you.
You
No,
guys
you're
are
at the Toad.
huge.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
How do we know and you don't?
Because I was in my drinking days.
You want to know what the worst was? We had to play at midnight one night. Remember when we played at midnight?
What was that show?
And we had there was a rush. There was some band where the guys, they had all the gear. I mean,
Right.
all the gear. And they were mad that they were after us. And I was like,
Oh, that is right.
I was like, bro, you can have the spot. None of our people are here. It's midnight.
Anyways,
Roll.
we
We're the
gotta
old band.
get it back together.
Listen, the Eagles fans don't show up at midnight. The Eagles fans need you playing at 7.
Yeah.
They need to hit Denny's and go to their concert.
Hey, let me ask Nate Kreckman a question here, real quick.
Yes.
Is Antonio Sensatella the worst player on the worst team in baseball?
Ooh.
Why would you blame him?
Oh, you haven't
He's
watched.
terrible.
You
He's,
haven't
he's
watched
bad.
this
he's
year.
about to go 1-11. That's
Yeah,
why.
no.
What about that
he's-
reliever?
He's
Which
terrible.
one? Agnos?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, did
Oh,
you catch?
he's had a bad week.
Did you see what Agnos did though between the two games? You didn't catch it. You realize he had a handlebar mustache, right?
Oh,
did he shave it?
He
Is that the
shaved
guy
it.
you took the picture of?
I did, yes.
So he didn't just shave a Nate Kreckman mustache, like whatever. He had a handlebar mustache,
Yes.
dude. I mean, you got to work that.
It was whack.
It was
You gotta
the Raleigh
wax it.
fingers.
It
Yeah.
was a Raleigh fingers, and he showed up last night and he shaved it. And I told Scott, if that dude shows up and shaves his handlebar mustache, the last thing
Yeah.
I'm doing is putting him in the game.
Yeah, take a mental day today. There's obviously was something
Tuesday
seriously going
night.
on.
Yeah, Tuesday night was when he walked the bases loaded. He gave up the leadoff home run. He walked the bases loaded. After the game ended, what do we call it? CalRock, whatever the network is, the Rockies.tv, whatever it's now called. They ISO'd a shot on him, and he was sad.
Oh, yeah.
He was really sad. And I know, I don't want to kick the
He
guy
was
while
about to
he's
say
down.
goodbye to the mustache.
He recently came off the
He did.
bereavement list.
He did.
Okay,
He's
so
having a rough go.
I don't
He's
know
having
what's
a rough time.
happening with him personally, but they ISO'd the shot, and
And I'll tell you where Warren Schaefer blew it.
I just took a picture of it and posted it on Twitter
All
without
right.
caption. I was just like,
Yeah, but it got
There it
worse.
is.
He went home, looked himself in the mirror, and shaved his little handlebar mustache.
mhm.
Okay?
And then blew it again last night.
Well, but hold on. What he did is, first of all, they put in Tyler Kinley, who's been kind of okay, but he got back to, who he's been. The real Tyler Kinley came out last night. So they put him in, and Agnos actually got 2 outs after Kinley had already given up 4 runs. Like it was rinse and repeat from the night before.
Yeah.
So Agnos gets out of the inning. So what does Warren Schaefer, Bud Black 2.0 do?
Who?
2.0. I'm
2.0.
setting up because he might not know.
Buddy
I
Black.
call
He's
Warren.
Bud Black 2.0.
Yeah, I just call him 2.0 now. Same guy, as it turns out. No better, no worse, just terrible.
By the way, he's going to keep that job.
Okay, whatever.
I wouldn't doubt
It
it.
wouldn't- It wouldn't surprise me.
He will.
Of course, 2.0, 1.0, 2.0.
Just call it manager.
So what he does is instead of patting Agnos on the back, like, hey, bud, you got us out of that inning.
Sends him back out there.
Way to go. Sends him back out there. Where he implodes and gives up another 3 runs or whatever. He's terrible. And the guy's got 9 walks on the season. 5 have come in the last 2 games. And between the 2 games, he shaved off his handlebar mustache. Hey, 2.0, your guy's hurting a little bit here.
It's wild. We talked about it last week. We were like, hey, bullpen, pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
This week
No.
It has just been implosion time.
Yeah, 'cause it's
for
summer
the
now.
pen.
And then they asked 2.0 last night. They go, are you going to try an opener like Rollison did with Senzatella,
Senza.
who's terrible, which kind of worked last time he tried it. And he goes, nah, we don't have the bullpen to do that. I'm like,
No.
You don't have the
Can't
starter
argue with
either,
it
though, my
there.
guy.
I gotcha. But Senzatella is so bad starting games.
Yeah.
So you don't have anybody on your entire team that could pitch one inning.
Even a position player really throw him off.
I mean, really.
Would that be hilarious if someone started with the position
Fultner
guy?
with a
comes
position.
out.
Yeah.
Fultner goes out there with his little.
I know Jacob Stallings doesn't have a job. You could hire him back to do that if you wanted to.
Hey, when you give him the unconditional release, didn't that feel a little harsh? We are unconditionally releasing you.
Hey,
We're not optioning you.
Jacob
We're not-
Stallings.
But hold on.
Jacob Stallings couldn't start for Regis High School. I'll go with Cherry Creek. They won the state championship.
If you got unconditionally released from the Rockies, would you not be throwing a beer party or something like that? Wouldn't you have like all the neighborhood over?
Well, it's tough because it's the end of your career. So, I mean, if you get condition, I mean, you're done.
Doesn't that sound harsh though?
It
Couldn't
happens.
just say
It's cold.
DFA'd him.
It sounds better than, hey, they just cut you.
But they didn't DFA him. That's just it. They were like, no, go away.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no assignment
You can't
coming.
just assign
But
him.
guys,
Let him
Senzatella
disappear quietly.
Senzatella makes $10 million a year.
Freeland was good again last night. Trade him immediately.
Well, you
Trade
gotta-
them all. Well,
you
they're
gotta-
not gonna.
You've got to move Freeland. Jake Bird and Kyle Freeland, if they are on this team beyond the trade deadline, it is malpractice. Granted, I fully believe both of them will be on the team, probably with contract extensions.
By the way, you
Sadly,
do
you're
know
probably
that.
Which is what happened to Senzatella after he had a few
Yeah.
good years.
I mean, Daniel Bard. They had Daniel Bard. They had the unicorn. They had the one thing every team's looking for, a closer at the deadline that
They gave
they're
more money.
willing to move.
They gave him more
And
money.
you didn't. Not only did you not trade him
I
in
gotta
the
tell you.
last year of a deal.
See, you know what's funny? There is something about them being the worst ever that's it's compelling and entertaining.
It is.
I'm
interested
it's
every
more,
day.
It's more interesting than just being
Well,
bad.
now, does Nate know about your walk?
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah,
I do. Oh, yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
already
rooting
given
for
him podcasts to listen. Matter of fact, we told him he's now got to recount every game that enraged
Well,
him the most.
I
to get
said
here.
he's
about
got to
it.
go Paul Pierce, and stop every mile or two and do a small video.
Well,
He's
sure.
got
You
to wear
needed
the.
a couple small businesses.
Thought you were
Get
gonna
yourself
say-
like a tea and a salad.
When you said Paul Pierce, I was like, is somebody going to bring him a wheelchair?
Well, that might be.
Maybe to get him out to the car.
No, the question right now isn't if I'm going to do it. It's like, will I be doing it before September? Like, at what point will they be unable to reach 42 wins?
the weather will still be nice then. You should just do it in
root
September.
for it.
You don't want to get a bad
It's
day.
getting squirrely towards catching the Spiders with 134 losses.
They will be, they're down 4 in the 7, but they'll be 12 and 56.
Can we not get it on here? Do we
No,
not have
that's
the
the-
channel?
Do you have a
Pal Rock.
subscription you can pull up there? You can pull up your subscription.
Not on.
I have MLB.TV, but I don't pay the extra $20 to get the Rockies. I don't. I get Rockies on my TV at
Sure.
home, but like I don't have them when I'm out and around. I watch other games.
When I was, sadly working at the other place, you guys all told me to get Fubo. And all I heard was get Fubo. That's all you guys said. So guess what I did? I got Fubo.
Yeah, and guess what? You don't know how to get your Fubo on this thing, so
I
we
do.
can watch Rock.
I do know how to get it on there.
You know what's kind of funny? There's been a couple of times
I'll
where I
put it
know
on
his
there for you
wife
guys.
or his kid has popped on the TV because we'll be using his Fubo, and then it's like, hey, do you want to keep it on this TV or give it up? And there's been a couple days. I've got so much respect for his wife. I'm like, all right. Well, I look in there to see if he's in there. When I see him, I'm like, I'm not going to deny the wife that Fubo. But if you were home, I might do it just to be a jerk.
Yeah, I don't know
one
how
time.
many people have ripped off my account, but that pops up to us all the time.
You know, Baker Mayfield pulled the mustache thing one time. Nate honored it by doing the same thing.
Oh, I did, yeah.
Remember, so the
What do you mean,
Browns lost to the Brandon Allen Broncos in the Vic Fangio era. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well,
Great game.
Yeah. Your boy Mayfield rolls in all strapping and feeling himself, getting ready to run his saloon with the mustache you described. And by halftime, it felt like he had something else. And by after the game, it was gone.
That's
Yep.
right. That's right. He,
Yep.
he progressively lost
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
but I mean, like a halftime,
that's
he
pretty
shaved
funny.
part of it off, thinking it would lead to a rally, and then he was like baby-faced after the game.
I kind of like Baker Mayfield. Are you guys Baker Mayfield fans or
I like him.
not?
I like him all right.
I do. I get a kick
Yeah,
out of him.
I do
Yeah.
too.
And I think he's just a tough ass player.
Yeah.
And like I like that he's sort of like overcome his shortcomings. Like I don't think anybody gets Baker Mayfield and they're just like Super Bowl here we come. But he's fun. You know, he's well liked by his teammates. That Tampa team was a good time last year.
Yeah.
You know who's like him?
Yeah.
Bo Nix. As far as personality,
Yeah, he's got. I see what you're saying.
Well,
hey man,
Do you
Bo
think
in the
Bo-
red zone was going at it. He was jawing with his teammates
Yeah,
a little
it
bit.
was
He's
fun to
enjoying
see.
it. He's
Yeah.
enjoying it.
Baker to me though has always had like a chip on the shoulder playing kind of guy. I don't see that with Bo yet.
Yeah, but Bo's a
He's got that southern red rear that you got.
Yeah, and some dudes are just natural leaders. Period. They just got it. They're just like follow me guys, and Bo's got that. Bo definitely has that.
He's been a big time quarterback for a really long time.
Yeah, he doesn't know any different. Actually, he's that's a good quality. He's got that.
Before we get out of here, Scotty, is this is this now an entertaining NBA Finals? Do we got something, or is this the same thing we watched with Denver?
You could be the same thing you watched with Denver, but I called it was going to be an entertaining finals, and I think it has been.
Last night was great.
Yeah,
it was a fantastic game. The Pacers had that unbelievable second quarter. They scored, I think, 40 points on 26 possessions. I haven't seen the Thunder defense diced up like that this entire postseason. And then that fourth quarter was great. Mathurin played out of his mind. Like what a world. But in some ways, and I looked back at Game 3 of the Denver series. Okay, so Mathurin's game last night, he goes for 27 on 12 shots. It was just like Porter's game. In Game 3. Like you got the unexpected explosion.
But that was like 19.
Porter went for 21 on 10 shots. He was 7 of 10. I think Mathurin was 9 of 12 last night. But again, it was just that was the thing. Also, Halliburton last night, he's just like last night he took over the game, but he doesn't take over by being a volume shooter.
No.
Which is really, really fun to watch.
That's why I like that. That's one thing I like about him. I said this to DMac. He's not afraid to get you 10, 12 assists.
Right.
If the game calls for it, and I'm going to get you 17 and 14 assists, he's okay with that. And
he can dominate a game that way, much the way Jokic does.
And not a lot of young players feel that way,
right.
though. They feel if I'm not getting 25, 28. Like Shai Gilgeous, I would say this. If Shai Gilgeous gets you 21, how's he affecting the game other places?
Right.
See, and I don't think he is. I think
they were hunting him last night.
He's a professional scorer.
Yeah.
Is what Shai is.
Yeah, he's a good steals guy. He's got that going for himself, but no, they were hunting him last night. And I love the way they defended that pick and roll last night. I thought the Pacers, they hit all the right notes. I still think the Thunder are going to win this series. But the fact that it's 2-1, much like the Denver series, is you need one more stupid thing to happen, and you're a win away from winning an NBA championship.
Come in and find a way to steal Game 4 on your home court.
Yeah.
And by the way,
isn't that funny? We have to say you got to steal a game on your home floor against OKC, but you kind of do.
Or 6.5 point dogs.
5.5. Yeah.
5.5 going into the game.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't believe in him. I like him. You know, what makes them special? I don't know. They're good and they're young and they like each other, it seems.
Right.
I'll say this, and I said this in that last series of Knicks. Obi Toppin is a perfect mix for this team.
Mm-hmm.
He coming off the bench.
Yep.
Would you not like to have Obi Toppin here coming off the bench?
Jumping through the gym, just that tip dunk last night.
Can make a few. That tip dunk was unbelievable.
One more for you before you get out of here, Scotty. Who was the T.J. McConnell of your era? Who was the guy that could come up with 3 steals off inbounds passes?
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's a throwback player right there.
You know what was funny is he missed that little bunny layup, and I was like, oh, that's tough, because I saw George Karl tweeting about how that's his kind of guy.
Got his own rebound.
And then all of a sudden, you want to know what else is weird? You guys would not know this, nor would anybody else except my family. The guy is the spitting image of the cousin I've got closest in age to me, whose name is Jeffrey, and he lives in the Springs now. And I was like, God, that little...
Should we start calling
He used
T.J.
to do
McConnell
that kind of stuff too.
Cousin Jeffrey?
Yeah, cousin Jeffrey.
Well, what was the guy that was here a couple years ago, was injured? Gillespie. He's a Gillespie type, but a little more active and getting more playing time.
Oh, he's really good.
Pritchard for Boston.
Yep.
Similar type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's the slot receiver.
Yeah.
He plays the slot receivers. Slow white, plays hard, kind of white dudes.
Craig Elo.
Craig Elo was a little bigger.
He was.
I had a name just a while ago. Now, this guy was a better scorer and shooter, but Mark Price.
Well, yeah.
Mark Price was smaller.
Little SOB to him.
Kevin Johnson was a good scorer too, but he wasn't real big either. But he was a dynamite dude.
KJ could dunk too.
Well, he could jump. He could get up floor and jump. But he was a smaller guy that just you got pissed at him because he played hard all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, what was his name? Frankie Johnson.
From where did Frank Johnson
He played a
play?
lot in Washington. I think he finished in Phoenix.
In Phoenix, yes.
Finished in
Okay.
Phoenix. But Frankie Johnson was a smaller point guard that just battled his butt off all the time.
Yeah.
Not a great shooter, great scorer, but he just always seemed to come up with a steal or something.
McConnell, he's got the shorter shorts, but it is just he makes the right play all the time. He's a perfect bench dude, man. He's as Indiana as it gets.
Is he a little less talented than John Stockton?
Yes. Yeah, there's some of that. You could go to Stockton or Hornacek,
Is
quite
he less
frankly.
dirty?
No.
He's pretty dirty. Yeah.
Yeah, McConnell.
Although
dirty?
Stockton's an all-time
talking about
dirty player.
Stockton.
Stockton is an all-time dirty
You're the one
player.
that's told me how dirty
Yeah.
Stockton
I got that
was.
quoted in the player. They were asking these, who's the dirtiest player in the NBA? And all these guys are throwing, Mahorn, Lambeer.
Yeah.
And my quote was in there. The old-time Sports Illustrated guy that used to write NBA stuff all the time.
Jack McCallum.
Jack McCallum.
Mm-hmm.
He'd always quote me. And I wrote, John Stockton. So I got that in there. I got that in there one time for
Hey,
John Stockton.
did McCallum write the NBA reference thing we read about him? Remember that?
No, who was that guy?
We read 2 years of your NBA reference.
Yeah. It was
Scott Skiles was thrown out there. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah.
Scott Skiles, yeah.
Yeah. Is it just going to turn into remember some 90s white point guards today?
Bro, mini camp ended today. We got the worst team in baseball history. We got a long boat to row until we get to training camp.
All right. Remember
but I did
some
throw in
white
Frankie
point
Johnson.
guards. That's good. That's very strong right there. Mm-hmm. All right. It's white point guard day. I'm writing it down.
Todd Lichty, baby. Was Lichty a point guard? No? Well, Scott said that.
That's
He was a brain away from missing another game.
when Hastings says it, though, you know it's true.
Yeah, but every dude that Hastings is twice the size of is my size. So I'm not looking to start beef with anybody. You know what I mean? All the little guys in the NBA ain't that little.
No, they're really not.
Muggsy Bogues was, and, we could come up with a couple.
The one that stunned me, the first time I stood next to Allen Iverson,
Yeah.
and I was like, you're smaller than me.
Yeah.
What the hell?
He could ball, though.
I mean, toughest dude on the planet, right? Like, that's the end of anything that I ever had over Allen Iverson, okay?
Yeah.
I was standing next to him, and I was like, you're like an inch shorter than me.
What's going on?
You probably weighed 20 pounds less than me. What the hell is going on right now? Yeah, but that dude, he got pummeled. Every time he went to the floor, every time he took
legitimately.
the ball to the rack, he hit the floor.
Yeah. Like the diving SGA does, that happened by force to Iverson.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, he was a free throw merchant because he bounced off of everybody. All right, it's Kreckman and Lindahl. We're rolling with you. It's Thursday afternoon. And hey, Rockies just cut it to a 2-run game in the bottom half of the 7th. Don't throw dirt on that grave yet. That's right. Good to hear from Connor McGahee. 303-504-0925. Get in the hunt. White point guards on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. All right, Andy, what's the text line got for us?
Well, Jason Williams' white chocolate is running away with the votes if it were a voting contest. But shout out to TD, Steve Blake.
Ooh.
I miss our guy, Steve Blake.
Former Maryland Terrapin.
Bob
Steve
Sura.
Blake.
We got Mark Price, John Paxton. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's another. Sam had Steve Blake, too.
John Paxton. What's funny is John Paxton and Steve Kerr were the same dude on the Bulls in separate three-peats.
That's funny. Yeah, they just replaced one. It was like when in the Cosby Show they didn't do a new Rudy, but they needed another beautiful, cute kid we all loved.
Right.
So they went and got the niece or whoever it was. I'm forgetting the name. So, but yeah, that's what you do in a show. Who else? Now I'm trying to remember who else replaced characters. Technically, Rebecca was the new Diane in Cheers.
Sure.
You know, although I thought the Rebecca shows are funnier.
Wasn't Woody the new coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that's sad because Henry Pantuso kind of got sick and
after Coach died.
Yeah, they didn't plan on that.
They went and got Woody.
They got Woody, and Woody was fantastic too.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think, like there's you know what I would say Steve Blake was? He was Darren in Bewitched. The same character, but two actors. Did you ever see? I saw behind the last summer. I think it was. I had that dog that broke its jaw, and I had to sit around and make sure it ate and stuff. So I watched a lot of bad
dark
TVs.
Memory.
Yeah, it sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Please, let's not go through that again.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I saw the real story behind Bewitched.
Okay.
And Dick Sargent, the first.
Dick Sargent.
Was it
Dick York?
Sargent or York now? Who was first?
Sargent York.
Sargent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Whoever was first apparently had been in the military and had a terrible injury from combat, and his back gave out, and he couldn't be Darren anymore.
Well, I've been there.
So, I think it was Dick York was first. So he was one bad back. They had to replace him. And so that's what the Bulls did with Paxton. They're like, you know what, man? Paxton, you're done.
Going from John Paxton then to...
Here's what we need you to do. Get the ball to Michael Jordan and hit a three every now and again.
Does Ricky Rubio, even though he was Spanish, he counts as a great white point guard, right?
Sure.
Yeah. He had fantastic
as long as he's
facial
all right
hair,
with it.
too.
Whatever.
Scott Skiles, who holds the NBA record with 30 assists in a single game.
I got a good one.
Yeah?
Luke Ridnour.
Ooh, deep
Nice.
cut right there.
Nice.
Luke Ridnour.
Ooh, Pistol Pete?
Well, he was kind of before our time, but yes.
That's why I'm giving you the I'm Ron Burgundy.
Goran Dragic. I love Dragic, by the way. Oh, Kirk Heinrich. Hello, Kirk Heinrich.
Oh, that's classic.
That's as white point guard as it gets right there.
So the 720 says Jerry West, the logo. Was he a
but he
point
was
guard?
good.
Oh, you just want serviceable.
This is just it. If you I think Stockton.
Hold on. So you want the white
logo.
point guard that is the equivalent of the possession white third down receiver.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not looking for Steve Nash. I'm looking for Vinny Del
You're
Negro.
looking for David Kirkus.
Right. Yes. Those are the guys that I want. I want Bobby Hurley. All right? That's who I'm looking for. Shout out Matthew Dellavedova today here on this show.
Our guy McConnell is that.
He is.
This was all fueled by, what's his first name?
TJ McConnell.
TJ McConnell.
Cousin
What's
Jeffrey.
that stand for?
He was so good last night, though. My God. By the way, and I saw a link today to a cut-up of all steals off of inbounds passes by TJ McConnell. It's his thing. He creates extra possessions in that way. He had 3 steals off of inbounds passes last night. There's
Fred Hoiberg?
Oh, very
the
good
mayor.
one. The mayor, Fred Hoiberg, out of Iowa State. Good one. Very strong. Fred Hoiberg right there. The similarities between Game 3. We did this after Game 1.
I know.
Game 3, Denver OKC, and Game 3 last night. Pacers win it by 9. Nuggets, Game 3, won by 9. Granted, the Nuggets had to go to overtime to be able to win that game. Key element. Actually, this was not the game.
Okay.
But did you see last night that the Pacers actually won the turnover battle?
Yes.
They had fewer turnovers than OKC, so it wasn't Game 3. It was Game 4. When the Nuggets coughed it up at home, they had 1 fewer turnover that night than Oklahoma City. But that was game 4 was the game where they scored 8 points in the first quarter. They had the awful fourth quarter, but the second and third quarter, they generally dominated and set themselves up to be able to win that game. Pacers had that crazy second quarter last night. They scored 40 points in the second, but the similarities are crazy. I was talking to Scotty about it, mentioned Matherin's performance last night to me was what MPJ did in game 3. And I know Matherin came off the bench, but still Porter 21 points. He was 7 to 10 from the field. It was his only good offensive game the entire series. Now Matherin, he was actually pretty good in game 1, but like that's what you need to beat the Thunder. Is you need like unexpected offensive explosions. Like obviously Halliburton was great last night with 22 and 11. Siakam was really good last night. But it was the fact that McConnell, Toppin, and most importantly Matherin were as good as they were off the bench. That's how the Pacers steal a win at home.
Yeah, and by the way, they'd said that turnover number early in the fourth quarter. I was blown away by it because normally it's Oklahoma City causing all the bad turnovers, right? It is this a 7-game series now? You and I, well, and I'll take more responsibility. I think you agreed with it, but I can't remember because everything's running together these days. But this has been like a long month of a week. But I originally felt like once they stole game 1, Indiana would get last night, and this would become a 6-game series. But originally, after the game 1 win, I thought we would get 3 in a row from Oklahoma City.
Sure.
I don't know that I'm that confident. This thing's starting to feel like the Denver series, like it might get dialed for 7 now. If Oklahoma City keeps screwing around, which I can't even explain, what do they do, Nate? What is it that happens when they just kind of let this happen? Because there's a better team in my mind.
It's a good question. Okay, first off, they had an awful second quarter. Like defensively, they got carved. And really, one of the key things that I thought that Carlisle game planned into last night was we're gonna hunt SGA. Okay, like that's we can't do it to Caruso or Dort. We really can't even do it to Jalen Williams. This is the guy that we go after. It's either that or whenever Isaiah Joe is on the floor. And last night, Dagnall was a little too liberal with that, and that got him into a little bit of trouble. So that was a good adjustment that he made. But here's another key similarity between game 3s of the Denver series and then the finals is the fourth quarter. Okay, last night, Thunder are up 5 going to the fourth quarter. And they get outscored 32-18. They were 6 of 17 from the field. They only made 2 field goals in the last 7 minutes. As I watched it, though, I kept thinking, they're just kind of missing makeable shots. Like both Gilgeous-Alexander and Williams were just sort of like missing paint touches, missing shots that they typically make, which if you go back to game 3 of the Denver series, fourth quarter, the Thunder shot 6 of 23. Now, it's not as though Denver was great, but they outscored them 22-19. But it was a similar situation where it was just like, if they just start to miss shots, they kind of fall apart a little bit. And even as great as they are defensively, and it's an all-time great defensive team, like this can even happen to teams like that. They will let bad offense bleed into the defensive end of the court. And again, Matherin's just making crazy shots last night. And Halliburton is just kind of operating and doing what he needed to do. But that's where, if I'm the Thunder, I'm still hanging my hat on, well, we know we're better than these guys. We played really poorly last night, and it was still, essentially a close game into the closing minutes. If we just tighten some things up and then make shots that we get, we should beat these guys, which I think is the way the Thunder were feeling after they were down 2-1 to the Nuggets.
Yeah. Again, what's screwy about it is if I were OKC, because you're right, like we said, I do feel like they're the better team. They've been the best team in the NBA all year.
Yeah.
I would, though, be concerned about our consistency.
Yeah.
Because, again, this is starting to feel like the Denver series. And look, quite honestly, even as a Denver Nuggets fan, didn't feel like that probably should have gone 7. But you played with your food. I don't know if it's a young team thing. And you may not have Aaron Gordon pull a hammy this time to bail you out of Game 7 if you let this get to 7.
Very true. And then you live dangerously, and then shooting variance can get you The other thing, I don't want to harp on this point again, but I've mentioned it a couple of times. Andrew Nembhard was taking one pick after Peyton Watson. See, Nembhard last night drew the first foul on SGA 8 seconds into the game. He had SGA pissed on the opening possession. He was so up in his face, and he got him to push him. And Nembhard, is just Legler did a great job highlighting it on ESPN last night, too, of Nembhard fighting through screens and just figuring out ways to get into SGA's kitchen and give him problems. And, Christian Brown had his moments on Shea, but they didn't have anybody in that whole series give SGA the problems that Nembhard, and to a lesser degree Ben Shepherd off the bench, have been able to give him, and at least make it tough on him last night. Again, that comes down to, the Nuggets they don't have a guy like that. They don't have a guy like that. They got 37-year-old Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, they need to get somebody like that,
yeah.
like you said. But so Scotty and I did a podcast, and someone had asked. It's on the YouTube channel. Subscribe at the Altitude YouTube page. You can find it there the most easily. It's 9 o'clock Wednesdays. I don't know what we're going to talk about in the very near future, but we're going to figure it out. I asked him last night. I go, can you ratchet up what can the Nuggets? Can the Nuggets play better defense? Let's just say this. I should probably start with where this comes from. It just still doesn't feel like massive moves are on the way.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun talking about some possibilities as they get presented to us.
Totally.
But right now,
likelihood is low.
The likelihood still seems that this thing probably stays together. They take their mid-level exception and they try to build the bench that way. Maybe Russ opts out. Maybe they trade someone near the end of the bench. But we're not expecting earth-shattering things right now. Mm-hmm. So is better defense something? Is more zone defense the answer to something the Nuggets can do? Because to me, what's been wild about this playoffs? It's been a little more defensive. The scoring has still been there. This hadn't been the 90s where one team's just hoping to get to 100. But, man, it feels like we've seen a lot of aggressive and allowed to be physical defense during these playoffs.
Okay, so I have a topic that is teed up for the 4 o'clock hour. We'll keep it there, but I think it sort of addresses the very question that you're asking about, because it's you can answer it offensively or defensively. Who's going to be next year's Christian Brown?
Okay.
Who's the guy that takes the big step forward and becomes and goes from little NBA guy to capital NBA guy? Who is that guy then going to be this next season? Do they even have one
I have a candidate
on the roster? Yeah, I got a couple. They're candidates.
Right.
And that's as far as I can go.
But nobody's elected yet.
Yeah, we'll talk about that coming up at 4 o'clock. But a quick break here. On the other side, Sean Payton at the podium today, and Sean Payton goes full dad mode today on the local media at the end of minicamp. Was it warranted? We'll discuss next.
Guys, Andy Lindahl here for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. And if you're dealing with the problem of low testosterone, again, it's something that gets talked about often when you hear sports radio, for instance. And maybe you're curious, what are some of the signs of this? I know I was kind of curious as to what they would be a couple of years ago. Low sex drive is one of them. Bad sleep patterns, unproductive workouts, decreased energy, brain fog. Sometimes it even can be depression. You don't want to deal with depression by any stretch. So if you feel like you have any of these or enough to warrant a visit to the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, don't wait. Schedule an appointment today. They can help you out and talk you through what testosterone treatment can do for you. If you like taking quizzes, and hey, who doesn't? Go on by the RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. 10-question quiz right there that can help you get to the bottom of maybe this is right for you or not. Yes or no answers. Takes 2 minutes, not very long at all. When you schedule your first visit at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, they'll draw your blood. They have your results in 30 minutes. You'll talk to a Colorado licensed medical provider about, again, what the treatment can do for you. The cost of the appointment is $99. It does include the medical consult, a T, and a PSA test. But if you sign up for testosterone the day of your appointment, your testosterone treatment, easy for me to say, the day of your appointment, your visit is free. They have 5 locations throughout Colorado to serve you. So go and find them, even up in Fort Collins and down in the Springs. Get that old feeling back. Get your energy back. Get better sleep back. Get it all back. Call them 720-440-7900 or RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
They're through 8 over at Coors Field. Giants 7, Rockies 5. Rocks did add 3 between the 6th and the 7th. Got it to a 2-run game, but we head to the top half of the 9th inning right now, and the Rockies trail it by 2. They will have one more AB to attempt to either send this to extra innings or potentially win the ball game, or, just get swept by the Giants, which
That's a regular occurrence.
Rather likely when you're 12-55 on the year.
They've been swept by the Giants in the past plenty. This is not new. This is not anything of an historical season.
It's not the first time it's ever happened. Last day of minicamp today. Andy,
Yeah.
we didn't go.
No.
We went 2 days.
We were good.
But minicamp wasn't mandatory for us, okay? We just hit the first 2 days. Shorter practice today, but still in entertaining and informative set performed by Sean Payton at the podium after practice today. So Devon Vele has not been at minicamp. Theoretically, would you call Devon Vele the Broncos' number 2 receiver right now?
That's a great question. Possibly.
Okay.
To me, it's still Mims.
All right.
But I think to your point, when they start, when we send the starting lineup out there to begin, the starting 11 probably will be Vele and Sutton.
If they're lining up too wide.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mims will be deployed in a variety of different ways. Let's put it this way, okay? If everybody stays healthy, I think Sutton will lead the receivers. I'm not going to count Engram in this conversation, even though he's essentially a receiver.
Yeah, built like one, too.
Sutton, I think, will lead the team in receptions. Again, this is, given health. Last year, Vele 41 catches in 13 games, Mims 39 catches in 17 games played. So that's quite a bit more volume going in the direction of Devon Vele this year amongst receivers who will be second on the team.
Mims.
Mims? Over Vele, over Franklin, over PB?
I think Mims.
PB being Pat Bryant. I already nicknamed him.
See, I got to see Vele's role and that it's going to be consistent.
Yeah.
I feel like I know what more of Mims is, whether it's Pat Bryant or Vele. But see, to your point, when it comes to touches, Mims could rack up a lot of yardage catching the big passes and not have as many touches.
Yeah.
So what do you think they do with him? Is Mims' time out of the backfield, is that going to continue to grow?
I
or
hope
with
it does.
RJ Harvey here, does that change up how you're using him a little bit?
I wouldn't stop. I would continue to give opposing defenses something to think about. Like we talked about this the other day. When it was all said and done, it was 13 carries for Marvin Mims. Felt like more, but I think only because it was so damn notable.
It's impactful. They were
when it
impactful
happened.
touches.
Yes, and it was such a surprise. And it was like, wait a minute, he's carrying the ball. Wait a minute, he was lined up in the backfield, and it became a thing with that team last year. I could see that number being, roughly in that same ballpark again, maybe a little bit higher. They didn't start to really use it until midway through the season last year. I could see that number being a little bit higher, but kind of to your point, it's like, okay, well, you spent the money to get J.K. Dobbins. You spent high draft capital to get R.J. Harvey. Why don't you give those guys the ball?
Yeah.
But,
and I would hope so.
But Mims has the sort of element of surprise, or I suppose unconventional to him, which I think good offenses should have.
I agree, but didn't it feel like, what was Mims doing as far as out of the backfield? I felt like the last month of the season, we didn't see it quite as much. Now, I could completely misremember it, but I felt like he was more like, when you go to the Cleveland game, his big play was from the line of scrimmage, wasn't he? He was lining up at the line of scrimmage like he had the big catch over the middle. That was not something out of the backfield,
Right.
Now, look, Franklin was the one that caught that long ball. Franklin looks good to me, by the way. Franklin, for whatever it's worth, it's minicamp. Don't want to get too carried away. But Franklin, I thought, looked fast. He looked like he knew what he was doing as far as running his routes more. Look, we'll see. Are Franklin and Mims, is there ever a point where they become redundant?
I don't think so.
Can't have enough speed.
Right. Well, that and it really is kind of a different skill set and body type on the two of them. Like Franklin is, I don't think he is going to be nearly as shifty with the ball in his hands as Marvin Mims.
Yeah, that's why Mims is a returner.
Exactly. He's, pretty much the best returner in the game today. So back on Devon Vele, he's not at minicamp.
He's been injured.
Yes. He's apparently got a thigh.
Got a thigh thing going on.
Okay, so I want to make sure I got all the particulars here correct. I believe Parker Gabriel of the Post was the first to ask the Devon Valley question.
The initial
The
question.
initial question.
But then a second questioner came from the hedges.
Chris Thomason of the Gazette, Broncos beat man,
Yep.
tried to, I suppose, interject a question.
Didn't feel like he liked the explanation he was getting. Now, again, I talked to our friend Jeff Legwald, and he said, to be fair to Sean Payton on this, Sean started to try to show the exact part of the leg where it was bothering him.
Oh, okay.
And then that's where frustration kicks in.
Okay. So again, like we have an initial question.
Yes.
We have some semblance of a Sean Payton answer.
We're going to go to the Zapruder tapes.
We
There
have
was a second questioner.
We have another question then, like you said, from the grassy knoll.
Although he found out, nuh-uh. Turns out, nope.
But Sean Payton was
Yeah.
not a fan.
Sean Payton was the guy in the front seat on this one, in this case.
So let's check out one magic loogie right now here on the Kreckman and Lindahl show. Sean Payton goes dad mode today.
Sean, with Devon Valley, is he dealing with anything that's going to keep him out? Like
No. He's going to be full go. Start a training camp. Everything's good. We should be. That's it. That's it. Did you hear me?
Okay.
That's what that's it means. That means it stops. We should be. There may be one player, Perry, that might go a week into training camp and then be ready, depending on how the summer goes. But outside of that, we expect everyone back.
That's it.
That's
That's
it?
it. And he put the knock it off with the hands.
That's it. It stops.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
And frankly, Thomason on the very first that's it didn't stop.
he did not. No. Okay. So let's break this down a little bit here. Spring, go right to the moment of the particulars here. So what it sounds like to me is Peyton in mid-pregnant pause.
Which you and I dealt with this with George Karl.
Right.
You have to listen to these coaches in this case because they got some long pauses. But you got to know we ended in the middle of a thought.
Yeah.
So that's not time to jump in. The thought's not done.
But Thomason is looking to press conference settings are they're
awkward
by
anyway.
their very nature. Because like there's no rules guiding the local media. Everybody just like blurts. It's not as though you like raise your hand and get called on. It's just you try to time it the moment that a guy is done talking. So Thomason has got the question, all right? And Sean is making no sound. So Thomason is trying to hop in and he has been scolded. Again, he has been slapped on the wrist, rapped on the knuckles by the nun, Sean Payton. Again, give that to me, Spring.
Everything's good. We should be. That's it. That's it. Did you hear me?
Okay.
That's what that's it means. That means it stops.
But it was the longer pause before it's good from Sean Payton that I think he was doing he was nudging out. It's like a four-way stop where you have the awkward moment where you and another
everyone's
car are like, you feel as though you arrived at the same time.
Who's to the left? Who's going straight?
Right.
So where's the right of way?
And then everybody's trying to be too polite and like
right.
you're waving.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, they're not going.
Not Sean and Chris. They both tried to go.
And then you start to go, but then you're like, oh, wait, no.
But
hold
Sean's
on.
in the big old truck,
Yeah.
and Chris's Prius wasn't going to win. So Chris had to hit the brakes.
That's it. It stops from Sean Payton today.
Sean, though, to be fair to all parties involved,
That's all we're trying to do here.
Sean was not done with his answer,
We're
so
fair
I
to
can
all.
understand why he got a little snippy. But Chris also,
That was a long pause.
yeah,
Spit it
Sean
out, guy.
had some long pauses today as you watched the whole thing.
He's doing more and more of that.
Well, because I think we could play an answer later as he talks about the training staff and how they're healthier. And he was talking about how you guys all thought we were cursed around here. And that last and I thought he was about to call out the former trainer, Lauren Landau. I really thought at one point during his long pause, I'm like, he's debating right now whether to name him by name or not. And then he chose not to, and he moved along. But he was self-editing big time today to the point where one of his answers, and again, going back to be fair to Chris, he started to answer something, and George Karl used to do this, and then it just like left turns somewhere else, and even he knew he did it because he goes, I don't know if I answered your question or not. and politely the reporter, which might have been Parker Gabriel again, just said, how about this? And repeated the question.
Can I try again?
Yeah. This was why you were talking about the four-way stop. That's why, Sanford thought I jumped in real fast on the old J.K. Dobbins. Well, man, you can't. You got to wait though. You got no time to you wait a second. Bang, you're dead.
You were right in there.
Well, yesterday I was going to ask. I'll reveal the question. I told you. I told Scotty. Everyone's like, do it. Leggy was like, yeah. Leggy said, put an "I'm curious" in front of it. He likes that.
I'm curious.
So I was going to say I'm curious because we all saw Sean.
If Thomason had said I'm curious, would it have gone better for him?
I don't think so because there would have been the pause again.
Right. I'm curious.
The issue would have happened. No, but I was just going to ask Sean's impressions or Sean's thoughts on the differences between NFL and NBA coaching because he sat courtside for like Adelman's first game or second game as a coach. Remember that?
I'm curious.
So I'm curious, what's the difference in coaching between the two jobs? And I just thought he might give us a fun answer. He seemed too cranky, and I'm like, I'm not gonna try this.
The part of this to me is a huge advantage NBA coaches have. They are not beholden to the headset.
No, I know, but
you don't have to listen to any other nonsense in your ears. You can simply go. What you can do is you can wander back towards your bench, and then with two rows of coaches, you can pick out which of them you feel like speaking to in that very moment.
Hey, guy.
Huge advantage.
Well, the other thing I thought was funny was there was a point, I want to say it was the Clippers series. I think some other people remember it. I thought Sean was going to argue a foul call for Adelman, and I thought that would have been awesome. But I don't ever remember an NFL coach sitting so close that he could take it all in the way Sean was.
Would it have been fun to listen to Sean Payton scold like Zach Zarba or Tony Brothers?
Oh, there's one point I was rooting for it. I'm like, Adelman's too calm. Unleash Sean on him.
That's it. That's it. Did you hear me?
Did you hear me?
Yeah. That if that might have been a day. Hey, Sean, I'm curious.
It stops.
And then
that's what "that's it" means.
Hey, go to the end of the presser. Get the cut from the end of the presser if we can, because he goes, all right, we're enough of this, and he just walks off. He goes, we're done.
All right, that's enough. Thank you.
Yep, that was it. That's the end of the presser right there.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
That's it.
That's the end of the offseason. I will talk to you at camp.
I've already yelled at reporters today.
He got a little annoyed with the reporter every day of this week.
That's great. That's good. That's how we. You know what? I don't like how good a mood he was in last year. This is better. I think Sean Payton's a better football coach when he hates everybody.
Well, yeah, because you know what that means? It means the league expects something.
That's right.
I think he knew last year whatever I do is going to be fine. Nobody expects anything.
It's time for a Bounty Gate style lawsuit to come down.
Whoa.
Let's get him in a war with the commissioner. I think that's when this guy does his best coaching. That is when he is at his best, when he's at war with the league.
All right,
let's do it. I don't want Sean Payton to be in a good mood.
Okay.
I don't. I think the coaching suffers. The coaching suffers. The team suffers.
That's it. Did you hear me?
Yeah, that's the guy.
I think you're going to get your way.
Let's have it. Let's
That's
do
what "that's it" means.
That is what "that's it" means. That's what's going to win you an AFC West for the first time in what feels like 4 decades. It's the Kreckman and Lindahl Show. Yeah, it is the second hour of the show. Hope you're having a delightful Thursday afternoon. Tonight on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5, Game 4, Stanley Cup Finals, Panthers, Oilers, 6 p.m. right after our show. Florida up 2-1, the NHL playoffs on Altitude Sports Radio, powered by Mountain Hyundai. So make sure you stick around after the show and listen to the hockey action, because
That's it.
Edmonton's got to have that one. They
Gotta have it.
Got to have this one tonight. You don't want to be down 3-1 to the mighty Florida Panthers. Andy, Jonathan Toews. How does that scratch you?
Scratches me all right.
Okay.
You know what? I'd give it a look. I mean, got to imagine that's an affordable contract. That's a guy that hasn't played in a little bit.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'd give it a look, man. Now, I saw somebody online speculate, it might have been the Guerrilla Sports guys, speculate that if Toews does come in, then maybe our buddy Charlie Coyle, our new buddy Charlie Coyle, might be on the move. But
That's it.
the Avs are going to have to do something. They're going to have to make a few moves. You know, things could get interesting in the defensive core. Is this year that they decide to move on from Girard because $5 million is a number you can actually see? Here's the problem. We can throw some names out there. They're not going to do anything with the top half. But a guy like a Girard, a guy like a Manson, a guy like Coyle, those are all about $5 million. I think like Coyle's like 5.5, Girard's 5, and Manson's 4.5.
Okay.
But those are numbers that you can actually try to go do something with.
That's
you
it.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just clear. By the way, the Rockies did get one run and through 7-6, bases
That's it.
loaded, one out.
You were saying?
Well, I'm just saying that's the money that you can go get something with. That's
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
That's it.
That's
That's
it.
really it.
That's it. Mhm.
I mean, you're
That's
not
it.
gonna. Is there you're not shopping Devon Toews, right? You just got him under contract, and he's under a very a likable number for a while. You're not going to try to trade the Captain Gabe. That's not going to happen.
Nope.
The only guy I'd be curious about, we broached it in the past, do they try to offer Nichushkin to somebody? But I don't know what the market would be like. And again, the problem becomes like if he's on and things are going to be good for a while, then you don't want to lose him anyway. But
That's it.
they don't have enough defensemen under contract right now. And I imagine Sam Malinsky isn't going to, your guy Sam Mayday Malinsky is not going to probably cost them an arm and a leg, but they literally only have $1.2 million currently under the cap.
37-year-old Jonathan Toews has not played in the NHL each of the last 2 seasons. His last year in the league, 22-23, 31 points in 53 games played for a terrible Chicago team. But, you know, as recently, well, I guess as recently as 5 years ago now, he was, you know, still a guy that was getting votes for the Selke as one of the best defensive forwards in the NHL. He's, Andy, just when you go back through the career of Jonathan Toews, obviously a 3-time Stanley Cup winner, so he walks in the door with championship pedigree, is the captain of that Blackhawks dynasty. 09-10, he won the Conn Smythe.
Yeah, pretty good reward there.
You ever heard of the Conn Smythe? I certainly have.
Have you guys ever heard of the Conn Smythe?
Yeah, in the 12-13 season, he won a Selke as the best defensive forward in the NHL.
That's it.
But I have probably the biggest reason why I think the Avalanche need to acquire Jonathan Toews.
Okay.
More than any other reason.
Okay.
And this is a very Kreckman and Lindahl approved reason to bring Jonathan Toews to the Avalanche. He would be the franchise's only current winner of the Mark Messier Award.
Oh, then there it
That's
is.
what that's it means.
Not even there's not even a question.
Just
get it done.
He is a Messier Award winner, 2015. Mark Messier took one look at Jonathan Toews and said, that guy is more like Mark Messier than any other Mark Messier wannabe in the entire NHL. Thus, I, Mark Messier, deem him the winner of the Mark Messier Award.
That's it. Did you hear me?
Hunter Goodman down on strikes.
He's a Messier Award winner. Go and get Jonathan Toews, old number 19, and bring him in.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm very intrigued by the move. I still would like him to find a way to hold on to Ryan Lindgren. I know that a few people weren't overly excited about that, but I think Lindgren's the kind of gritty defenseman that you need to keep around on this team, maybe add a little bit more of. That was something we talked about with our guy, John Michael
Sandpaper.
Lyles. Yes. Yes.
Something that our sauce needed.
Hey,
That's it.
if Sean Payton was a defenseman, he would be the sandpaper defenseman, wouldn't he? He'd be the gritty
That's
guy.
it.
Yeah.
I think he would be.
That's what "that's it" means.
I really feel like you told Spring to play those a lot, and maybe it was too literal.
Nope.
That's it.
As far as I'm concerned,
I'm going home. You could just talk to Sean all day.
That's it.
I can't get enough of it.
Try having a conversation with Sean. Let's see what Mark can do.
Check out KNL's new bit. That's it.
That's what "that's it" means.
It is what it means.
Oh gosh. I look up, look down. It's 0-2.
Are we overrating Jonathan Taves because of the name recognition?
Possibly.
Yeah.
That's always you
Hadn't
always
played-
worry about that.
Hadn't played in the NHL in 2 years.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
But remember when Zach Parise came in a couple years ago? I mean, I like what he added. Again,
He was okay.
here's why I'm okay with it. You're not asking Taves to be a top guy. He gets to be a third-line center. You're looking for depth scoring. You'd like him to just be Andre Burakovsky. Remember him? He had flashes of hot and cold. Sometimes he'd be on a heater and he'd score forever. Other times he'd go a little bit cold. It's not that big a deal.
Right.
Because, again, you're still going to be asking if Natchez is around. And, boy, I'll tell you what. While we're talking about it, I can't look at my phone because my phone's what I'm watching the Rockies game on. Quite an intriguing list. We have a full count here, by the way.
That's it.
Quite an intriguing list of guys they could possibly acquire for Marty Natchez if they chose to shop him.
I happen to notice Sidney Crosby's
I was
name
gonna
was
say.
on that list.
All right, let's do this.
Which, again, is that another guy that we're just simply overrating because he's one of the greatest players in NHL history?
We got a walk-off. Game is done.
That's it.
Rocks won?
8-7.
That's it.
Hey! Way to go, Rocks. Win number 13.
Yeah.
On the year. Orlando
Not swept.
Arcia with a 2-run single to win the ball game. Rocks come back and get one.
Blooped it
Yeah, I
over
think
the
it's exciting.
infield, and I believe your guy Ryan McMahon, who wants all the Ryans there June 20th,
He sure does.
he made sure he came around and scored that winning run. So there you go.
Win number 13 today for the Rocks.
Does this mean
Are we going to do greatest number 13s in Denver sports
Hey, we
history
could.
today?
That's it.
My question is, does the manager get fired after this? That's what we do. Win a game, you're out of here. For those that don't remember, Bud Black fired a day after a win
A day
against
that he
the
won.
Padres.
Literally the day that he won.
When's is this the year the Sidney Crosby thing's done? Seriously, when are we going to be done with the Sidney Crosby chase? Will it ever go away? As long as Sid is in the league, are we going to try to somehow pair him with his good buddy Nathan McKinnon?
Yeah, I think so. Like, as long as the Cole Harbor, Nova Scotia connection exists, I think we're going to talk about it, and you're going to keep wondering, like, how much longer does Sidney Crosby want to be a Pittsburgh Penguin? He's going into his age 38 season. Again, I say, are we overrating him? Still a 91-point guy last year. Pretty damn good. It's not Cale Makar good. He had 92 last year, but it's still pretty good. But here's the question, though. Like, you've already paid Brock Nelson to be your 2C.
Yep.
Do you need Crosby? Haven't you essentially made the move already to say, I don't need that guy? Taves obviously would come in at a lower price point and could fit in as a third center on this team.
Well, I don't have a problem. I guess it depends. Do you want Marty Natchez back or not? I feel like the YouTube crowd that comments on our YouTube channel, they definitely want Natchez back.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
If we're
going off that.
Okay.
But
Canvassing
Cool, Carl.
Yeah.
YouTube
yeah,
commenters.
they've let it be known, yes, keep him.
Okay.
But I think you and I remembered there were plenty of disgruntled fans on the text line, and that seems to be what the text line is for. YouTube is to tell us that we suck. The text line is to tell us the guy sucks.
So YouTube is gruntled.
YouTube
line.
battling text line.
Disgruntled.
All our social medias is like the anchor fight in Anchorman where all the news crews showed up
Okay.
to rumble in the yard.
Okay.
Twitch is just chill and mellow, chill bros at home, enjoying 420 here in 5 minutes.
I like getting these updates because I don't read any
I know
of
you
it.
don't. But
Did you hear me?
YouTube I found since I started getting the comments that get sent to my phone, yeah, they can be an angry bunch.
All right. We'll step aside here for a moment. When we
Not
come
the
back,
live guys, mind you.
I want to talk about who is next year's Christian Brown. Okay, who on this Nuggets team can turn into
I've got a guy.
Benny Matherin or Obi Toppin or TJ McConnell, or I'd even take Ben Shepherd right now. Who could that guy be?
What about TJ McConnell? Would you take him?
Oh, I said his name too. So
That's all I heard was Ben Shepherd.
TJ,
That's it.
What about Dax? Would you take a Dax Shepherd?
I would not.
You don't like his wife?
I don't. She's lovely. I don't think.
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't think the Nuggets need Kristen Bell. I think.
Hey, why not?
I think the bench is undersized enough. Isn't she like 4'11"?
Could be distracting.
She's tiny yet talented.
Hey, can you do like a gymnast routine where maybe
I didn't know what that routine was that you were doing right there.
That's it. You probably don't even have full view, do you? I'm gonna give you. I'm trying to boost you up to the roof.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're trying to do.
Okay. Now I have a better view of it.
With our bad backs, let's see who survives it.
That was a different move that you were doing right there. And
Whoa! Have you watched the Pee Wee Herman doc?
I did. It was so good.
It really was.
It was fantastic. I didn't know him and Hartman were bros the way that they were back in the day. Yeah,
till they weren't.
Yeah, but I guess Phil Hartman was in Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Pee Wee's Big Adventure is that top. I don't know, top 20 comedy of all time?
Yeah, well, the comedy in the show was when he told me I really wanted to make a circus movie, and I was like, all right, what?
Yeah.
Who says that?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's exactly. But who is next year's Christian Brown? We'll talk about that next.
That's what that's it means.
Big win today for the Rocks. Giants bullpen melts down, so I suppose in some ways, karmic retribution.
Oh, yeah, because the Giants had a pretty good lead in that game. It was 4-0 after the early innings.
That's it.
It was 7-2.
That's it.
Going into the late innings of that ball game. Rockies are at Atlanta tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Got a Herman Marquez outing. Dolander scheduled to pitch on Saturday, and then it's off to Washington. So a couple of clubs that are sub 500. Chance for the Rocks to do a little bit of damage.
That's it.
Right here, Andy. They are, by the way, after today, back to within 42 games of 500.
Oh, good.
That's it.
That's
good.
not bad. It's not
gonna
bad.
happen.
They're getting closer to what I do not know. By the way,
That's it. Did you hear me?
number 13, good Avalanche number. Nichushkin, High Note, Kamensky, all number 13 in Avalanche sweaters.
Valerie Kamensky is one of the low-key, underrated, fun scorers in this franchise history.
Mm-hmm.
That dude was really good.
Yeah.
But he got buried on a team with, guys named Sakic and Forsberg and stuff like that.
But a good Nuggets number 13. So Rockies get win number 13 today.
No, that's a good Avalanche number. Is it a good
Avalanche
Nuggets number? Now you got me. I'm wondering.
Good Avalanche. Oh, let's see. Good Nuggets number. Let's see. PJ Hallworth this year.
That's it.
Thomas Bryant a couple of years ago. He's
That's it.
now a Pacer. RJ Hampton. He was moved to Orlando in the Aaron Gordon trade. Corey Brewer was a number 13 for a couple of years.
He was a pretty good Nugget.
Corey Brewer was fun. Sonny Weems. Remember Sonny Weems?
I remember the name.
There you
I
go.
don't have many highlights running through my mind.
Bobby, let's see. Keon Clark, Bobby Jackson.
Bobby Jackson was an all right. Remember him, point guard out of Minnesota? Ultimately went to Sacramento.
Jimmy King, former Fab Five guy. Mark Jackson was a number 13.
God, did Jimmy King actually ever play here?
He was a Nugget.
Jalen Rose was too.
Wait, he played 2 games.
I was going to say, Jalen Rose was their Fab Five guy.
He did play 2 games. He averaged 3 points a game in 96-97. It's not bad.
That's it.
It's another Fab Five guy. All right. Christian Brown. 2 years ago, Christian Brown 7 points a game. Last year, 15 points a game. Scoring average more than doubled this past season. Rebounds, assists, all went up. But to me, the biggest number that changed for Christian Brown, he went from 46% from the field in 82 games played in 23-24 to 58% from the field. Huge jump in terms of his efficiency. And it's a big part of why. And again, he took 4 more shots per game on average. But Christian Brown made the jump. He made the jump from rotation guy to solidified NBA starter. That's what Christian Brown now is as an NBA player, and it's what he's going to be for some time. Okay, this is if they don't really do anything, if these guys are back, who is a guy that has a similar leap forward next season in terms of their production? Who is a player on this team that will see a scoring average double or better coming up here in the 25-26 season?
See, when you say scoring average double or better, hurts it. But the guy I'm hoping is Deron Holmes. He's the number. Look, he was your top pick. There are great hopes for him.
0 times 2 is still 0.
Exactly. So that scoring average thing, you kind of heard it right there at the end.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about a guy that could splash on the scene and actually jump in and contribute, he's my number one guy because he's the only one we don't have a lot of history with.
Right.
Okay? I'm sorry. You know what this does? This does speak to my concerns about a Peyton Watson doubling his scoring output, for example, at times. I don't think Hunter Tyson's waiting to explode, and I don't know what to make of Julian Strother because after getting me so excited against Oklahoma City in Game 6, where he actually hit shots from all over the floor, I felt like most of what we saw last year, he struggled a bit with his 3, and he just was inconsistent. Now, Strother would be the obvious choice and maybe the only choice, but I'm hoping Deron Holmes can show us what big plans we heard they would have had for him had he not gotten hurt. How about that there, Kreckman?
It's hard to gauge because we haven't seen him as an NBA player yet, and we don't know what it's going to look like. And he's also coming off of a major injury. That's a tough one to gauge. It's funny because I went to two other names. I went to Strother and Watson. And, yeah, they're probably the obvious names to go to.
I have more hope for Strother than Watson. How about that?
Julian last year took 7.5 shots per game off the bench, shooting splits 43, 35, 82. That's the 35 one is the one that I feel like, okay, that's the one that jumps off the page. The Nuggets need Julian Strother to become a 39 or 40% three-point shooter. They need him to hopefully, and last year he made on average 1.4 threes per game on 4 attempts. Get that number up over 2. All right. Last year, Jokic averaged two threes a game. Jamal was at 2.3. MPJ was at 2.5. I want to see that number jump up. Like, what if there is a world where Julian Strother, coming off the bench, last year averaged 9 points a game in 21 minutes. What if there's a world where Julian Strother averages 15 in 26 minutes, 25 or 26 minutes on average per game next season? I think it's plausible.
Well, it is.
He's good enough to be able to do it. I mean, there's a couple of things at play here. Number one, the coach is going to trust to leave him on the floor.
Right.
And live with his defensive shortcomings, deficiencies, or his defensive growth that he has to be able to go through in order for him to be able to get to that place. I think he has shown that he is a dynamic 3-level scorer, that he has the ability to be that kind of player. But again, is he just killing you on the other end? Or is his shooting and his scoring good enough that you're like, we'll live with crappy defense because really all we need out of the non-Jokic minutes is to break even.
Stay afloat, not give up leads.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Does Julian Strother, the numbers you're saying he puts out there,
yeah,
15 points, 26 minutes, does it allow you to take a Jokic and a Gordon off the floor together, or a Jokic and a Murray off the floor together like you talked about earlier in this offseason in order to maximize their time together on the court? If he turns into the guy where I can get both Jamal and Jokic rest together so that I can bring them back and optimize our pick and roll game, sure, then I'm all for it. Then yes, you look a lot different than I think you did a year ago. But is Julian going to become a find my own shot guy, which I feel like you kind of let us, like you might need to trade for something like that?
Right. Here's the question on Strother, okay? Is he going to be a scorer or a shooter? Do you know what I mean with that difference?
Yeah. Because a scorer, he goes to the rack. Like Christian Brown right now, I'd term more a scorer than a shooter.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Yeah, I would agree.
Not a guy that's, not the guy that I'm afraid. I don't remember. Give me the last scorer this team really had. The last shooter this team really had.
Oh,
it's MPJ.
It's Porter.
Right.
Yeah.
Even Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown, what was he doing? I'm stealing, I'm going to the rack.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll sit outside here and I'll hit a 3 here and there, but I'm gonna take it to the rack and see what I create. That to me is a score.
It's one of the great disappointments is that Porter is an elite shooter and never really developed the scoring gene. Right.
Well, he can't dribble. You pointed that out to me early.
The
he
lack of
tries sometimes.
Right.
But he's also so tall.
Right. Strother is a guy. I know he's got this shot. The question is like, are you going to get to that floater more? Are you going to get yourself contact and get to the line? Are you going to get to the rim when it's available to you when a possession goes lousy? Like one of my ultimate frustrations of watching the Nuggets second unit when it's Jamal and the other guys out there is how many possessions end with, well, we didn't get crap done for 18 seconds. So here, Jamal, just go fire one up for us, okay? And there's Murray just dribbling into traffic and like shooting a fall away.
Or sometimes he just dribbles the whole shot clock out himself.
Right. And just jacks up a 3 or whatever ends up happening. Like it's those possessions are the ones that absolutely drive me nuts.
Okay, could a Strother, let's start to put this into pairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could a Strother, and it's a tough question, but play along. Strother, Deron Holmes combo allow you to, does that help whether it's Jokic and Murray, Jokic and Gordon, maybe Jokic, Gordon, and Murray all get a chill at the same time?
Oof. It doesn't, to me, if it's team run it back,
Which is what we're going off of.
I don't see a world where you can survive with both Jokic and Jamal out of the game at the same time.
But do they need to find that world in order to get another championship out of this core?
Could be.
At least till the playoffs.
Right.
And in the playoffs, you probably aren't doing that.
But this is also like some of this is the disappointment for the Nuggets of like this is what they paid for. Like when you pay $3 max, you're like, okay, we're always going to have somebody on the floor. You know, you think of championship outfits. Like no matter what, the Warriors always either had Steph Curry or Klay Thompson on the floor, or when the cap exploded, they had Kevin Durant as well. You know, even the current Thunder, you always have either Shea or Jalen Williams out there, and Chet, who's only going to get better.
Yeah, but see, look, in this, how about this? And I keep trying to play with combos for you. What if Jalen Pickett can come in, be serviceable enough at the scoring, but be the true point guard?
That'd be great.
What if he can set up, like, let's say in this scenario, an MPJ stays out there. Pickett handles the ball. Strother's playing the 2, and Holmes is the 4. I don't even know who your backup big. For the love of God, please find a backup big with that mid-level exception, okay? Sarge, please.
Dario
Sarge, please go wherever you got to go. We
put
all
Dario
love
in
you.
the game.
Go live a happy, long life. Just get off my bench. Please.
I don't love Dario.
For this sake, if it makes you go away, this is the not you, it's me.
Okay.
You need it. And I'm sorry, it's not you, it's me. I don't want you on my bench. That's the me part. But I'm just saying, if you can get to a point where you've got Pickett there and you can rest enough of the starters to not be gassed at the end of games.
Yeah.
And look, none of this has to exist for the playoffs necessarily. Somehow, though, if this team's going to run it back with the current personnel and a mid-level exception player, they've got to get more out of the bench. You got to have 8, 9 guys you can play when it's regular season time. Adelman talked about it himself in his presser.
Why are we giving Peyton Watson no hope to be that guy?
Look, it's unfair. Maybe a new coach comes in and because I'll tell you right now, because I don't like the hands of all things.
Mm-hmm.
But by the end of the year, at least on the offensive end, he kind of developed some of the crazy Russ hands where all of a sudden the ball's just flying out of his hands as he's trying to go up for a shot. Now, maybe it's not just the hands. Maybe it's people slapping the ball away from him or whatever. But the shot and the scoring has just been too inconsistent.
Yeah.
He's another guy where in Oklahoma City one night, there you are. You're the player. You're everything I want. Let's go shoot another Hotels.com commercial. And then there's other nights where I can't get any scoring out of you and you're blowing layups.
He is 23.
Well, so this is where I'd give the hope. A new coaching staff is coming in. Does somebody find a new way to work with him that untaps something the last staff didn't?
Honestly, like the biggest thing that I want out of P. Watt is like right now, this offseason, what are you putting in to become a more reliable shooter, to work on your handle, to develop an off-the-bounce kind of game? The athleticism is there, the length, the size, like it's there. He's already the best shot blocker on this team at 6'7". He's cemented in the rotation. You absolutely need him to be that guy. While he may never, develop in. He's not going to turn into J-Dub. Like, he's not ever going to be an all-star, an all-NBA guy. Like, I think that's, I think there were points early on when I was looking at him and I was like, man, I can really see a fun ceiling right there with the kind of freak athlete that this guy is. Maybe that's not there, but good health, another offseason in the weight room and just, like, add tools to the offensive game. He could be a double-digit a night kind of player and a guy that you could trust, a guy that if you put him in a corner and you space the floor, defenses aren't just like, all right, well, I'm going to ignore him and I'll just stand on top of Nikola Jokic's feet.
Yeah, look, all this works if you could find. Here's ultimately what I think you need to unlock, and I don't even. It's already been unlocked once. You need to get back to it. MPJ needs to find that consistent three again and not be bothered by defensive matchups. And if he can stay on the floor when Jokic and Murray go to the bench, and he can keep the scoring going, whether it's with any of the combination of guys, maybe he and Strother on the floor together and it's a 3-ball nightmare. I don't know.
Right.
But then that helps a Peyton Watson, and then maybe that allows Peyton Watson to play a little bit more at the starting five, and he has to hold a lesser of a role. I don't know, but I mean, at the end of the day, you talked about it. When you sign this many max deals, someone's probably going to have to be on the floor at all times. If MPJ can just get to that stretch that he was in right before the deadline where we all thought, all right, he's back.
Yeah.
And whatever was bugging him's gone. And maybe it's as simple as him breaking in the new brace and not dealing with the drop foot stuff that he dealt with a year ago, then you're probably fine.
If you enter the Pick'em contest for the U.S. Open at AltitudeSportsRadio.com/Pick'em, you'll be able to check that same site, see how your golfers are doing after today's round wraps up. You'll be able to search for the last 5 digits of your phone number to see where you stand for the prize pack. Thanks to Surfside Lemonade and Vodka and Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. Look for the can with sunset stripes at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. By the way, we do have an update on the leaderboard at Oakmont right now. JJ Spawn is your leader in the clubhouse, shooting an opening round 66 at 4 under par. Let's see, Andy. So far, quite a few golfers have shot under par here on day number 1. Some suspicion that nobody would shoot below par in this tournament because apparently this course is a freaking nightmare. USGA did their thing once again, but right now JJ Spawn at 4 under is your leader. Scotty Scheffler currently 3 over par.
That's it.
Right now. Even Scotty Scheffler is struggling out there.
Well,
in this
I
moment.
had read something about him having concerns about this course, and he didn't know how his game would play.
I think they all have concerns about this course.
Which course is it again?
This is Oakmont, Western Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh. I mean, they have had a U.S. Open here before when Angel Cabrera won it back in 2007 with a score of 5 over par.
All right.
He was a shot ahead of Tiger, who shot +6. So think about that, 2007. That's like peak Tiger Woods. And he finished in second at a tournament at 6 over par to give you an idea of how tough they can make this tournament. Last time the U.S. Open was at Oakmont, Dustin Johnson was 4 under for the tournament, won it by 3 strokes. But it was kind of wet conditions that week, which kind of slowed things down a little bit. If it stays dry out there, going to be an absolute nightmare to try and keep the ball on those greens.
Whatever happened to the Stableford scoring system that the International used to love to use? Remember that?
That's
Everything
it.
was a plus. It's all weird and opposite of what golf was.
Whatever happened to the Stableford
How
scoring
come nobody else
system?
uses it? Did we just decide we got tired of looking at upside-down golf scores?
I think so.
That's it.
I think everybody was looking at it like, I don't know who's winning right now. This is too confusing. I only know one way to watch this sport. It's confusing when you change it. Nobody can follow what is going on.
How's it different? You know?
I don't know, some points or something. I don't know.
That's what "that's it" means.
It is. That is. You got anything?
That's it.
Folks, it's
That's
the
it. Did you hear
fun
me?
time of year to be alive.
Tyrese Halliburton last night, Andy, 22 and 11. Took over that game last night.
Right?
By the way, I saw a stat today. The Pacers are now 20-1 this season if he goes for at least 20-10.
Okay.
So like it's in some ways when you watch him, you know, he had a bad game too. Did Tyrese Halliburton.
Right.
Which naturally, like when there's, you know, that much time between games, it's enough time to then everybody gets on First Take or Get Up or whatever show, and they then have to have a referendum on how good Tyrese Halliburton actually is. And then he comes back in Game 3, and he plays really well, and his team gets a victory. I'm assuming after SGA only went for 24 last night on 20 shots or whatever it took him to get there, there's now a referendum on him. Is he a true MVP? And is he actually a superstar and all that? Like, you have to be able to do that after an NBA Finals game. But when you have a player like Tyrese Halliburton who can dominate via distribution, which is much the way that Nikola Jokic dominates a lot of the time. Now, you know, you look up at the end of the night and Joker goes for, you know, there's those nights. It's like, 22 points, but it's also like, 18 rebounds and 15 assists or whatever else that he did. And you watch the way that he just absolutely dominates the game. But like in some ways, has Jokic altered what it means to be a superstar, where we can look at a player like Tyrese Halliburton and say, you dominate that game, even though 22 points is in and of itself not necessarily what you would call a traditional dominant performance?
Yeah, I mean, yes, and he's look, we kind of just talked about it with Jalen Pickett that last time. Okay, you get a guy that could set everybody else up for other shots.
Yeah.
That can be huge. He's also just kind of their motor. He is. I feel like he's the guy when he's going, they're right.
Yeah.
Right? Now I know Pascal Siakam is really good for them.
Yep.
But they are, again, they're an interesting team. I don't know what to make of them. They're handsy. They're not.
Very physical last night, especially.
Well, but okay, I'm glad you brought that up again.
I mean, in some ways, they kind of did to the Thunder what the Thunder do to everybody else.
Yeah, but see, this is what I think is wild. So we start the game, they start the broadcast, they start talking about how, hey, they've said, I remember Breen saying right away, they're not going to let them get away with some of this stuff tonight. They're going to call it a little bit tighter. What way are we going to, you know why the Thunder get away with what they get away with sometimes? Because they let them have it. And then other nights they don't. I don't understand.
It was a weird whistle last night.
From one to the other.
Yeah.
And then there were points where I'm watching, we're like, oh, because there was one time where SGA, it was late in the game and everybody's showing the highlight where he jumped right into the camera. He did his thing where he threw his shoulder in. He tried to get the shot off. It didn't go. He slid into camera row and they didn't call anything. But I'm thinking to myself, the whole playoff, you've been calling that.
You've been getting that call.
To the point where I'm kind of annoyed as a Nuggets fan, and I'm sure every other the Wolves probably have a little beat, but you're going, hey, man, if you'd have let that happen in our series, maybe it would have ended up a little bit different.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure that it would have, and then, like you said, they kept going. There was one point where two guys ended up on the floor and practically tackled each other. One, like Chet goes down, and they don't call anything at all. Like, I feel like these refs can't make up their mind what they want to do. But when they do let it get physical, when they do let it be like the 90s a little bit, it favors OKC. I still don't know that I've wrapped because I kept waiting for Oklahoma City to pull away and just put the game away. Like you said, they go to the fourth quarter, they're leading by 5.
Yeah, they're up 5. Williams hit that 3 right before the break there.
Are you taking Indiana? Do you think this goes 7? I don't know how to feel about it. Part of me feels like
I do. Right now, I think the Pacers have the juice to get another win. I don't think that they can win 2 before the Thunder win 3 more. Like, I still think Oklahoma City is going to win this series and win the NBA championship. But going back home, showing the strength to finish that game the way that they did last night. I mean, again, here's one of the things about Oklahoma City is they generally stay pretty consistent with what they do, and they're a good adjustment team. Like last night, the way that Miles Turner was defending on the pick and roll and sort of forcing him out a little bit further away from the basket, playing it that aggressively. Like, okay, I expect them to then have a good adjustment here in Game 4. I expect the Thunder to win Game 4 tomorrow night. I think this thing goes back to OKC, tied at 2. Quite frankly, I think this series follows the exact same pattern as the Denver series, where the Nuggets won games 1, 3, and 6. I think that's exactly what the Pacers are going to get the rest of the way. I think they'll get back to their building, down 3-2. They'll have the juice, but I don't think they can win a Game 7 in OKC. But again, if it gets to a Game 7, funny things can happen, right? As long as, your third best player's hamstring doesn't explode.
Yeah, it doesn't get hurt in the last seconds.
That's kind of critical right there. But yeah, what I like about Halliburton is you can take over the game by not taking 30 shots, and Jokic does that an awful lot, and that was the version of him that showed up last night. That was an awful lot of fun, and again, their bench was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I just still am a little bit amazed. Chet's a wild card to me. Chet goes in and out of these things. I just don't understand why Oklahoma City tends to be as inconsistent as they are.
Right. Because when they're locked in, you're like, this
nobody
team
can beat them.
Unbeatable. Right.
We have college power rankings.
College football power rankings?
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool.
So this is college football future power rankings through 2026. But it starts at number 68. Why 68? This is on ESPN.
Are we going to expand the playoff to 68 teams?
Are we just going to go a full NCAA tournament style?
And nobody told me?
Yeah, can you guess who number 68 is?
Boise?
No.
No? The Buffs?
No. How about this? A number of former Broncos played at this school, including a famous quarterback.
Stanford.
There it is.
Hey!
Now, can you name all the Stanford Denver Broncos? I can think of 3 off the top of my head.
All the Stanford Broncos.
Maybe 4.
After Elway, John Lynch.
Yep.
I'm out. Who else we got?
Eddie McCaffrey.
Oh, yep.
And I think that's it.
Okay.
I think
That's what "that's it" means.
Yeah. I'm also trying to scroll through here. Oh, did I find him? I thought I finally found. I'm trying to see if Colorado fell into here. Or Colorado State. Colorado. You think they'd be top 68?
The Buffs?
It's just
Yeah, why not?
number. Why are you going 68?
That's it.
Spring, hit up Brett McMurphy. Let's get him on the show.
No.
He was awesome.
He didn't put this together.
But immaterial. The guy gave us a drop that we still play to this day.
Colorado.
It's all the more
Found
reason.
Colorado.
Where is Colorado? I'm going to say 42.
Higher.
That's it.
Higher? Okay. 36.
Oh, so close.
37.
Coming in at number 36, it's Brett Kane's Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Okay.
Colorado is at 35.
That's it.
Ooh. Little rivalry right there. That's, hey, Buffs fans, get on Twitter. Tweet at all the Husker fans. Say, you guys suck. We're number 35. You need a little bit of ammunition here on the 12th of June. Kreckman and Lindahl, we get the 5 biggest stories of the day from minicamp. What did Sean Payton have to say today when he wasn't yelling at reporters? That is coming up next.
That's it.
Hey, it's Nate Kreckman for Roller Auction. Got a good auction available for you to be able to bid right now. Doesn't start to close until next week. This is surplus assets from a local food manufacturer, Roller.bid. We're talking refrigeration, convection ovens, pallet racking, office supplies, so much more. Again, this auction starts to close next week. So go to Roller.bid and check it out. Phenomenal selection of merchandise available for you to be able to bid on. This would be great for your kitchen right there at home. You can absolutely upgrade your food prep areas. You could potentially even get yourself some fine supplies to be able to work with. Go to Roller.bid and check out this auction. Again, starts to close on the 16th. So go to Roller.bid right now. Get signed up to be able to bid. Roller.bid/altitude. That is where you go. Roller.bid/altitude. Get yourself signed up. Get on the email list. Some of these stainless steel work tables, phenomenal deals available. You could slide one of these into your kitchen, extra food prep space. You're basically adding counter space. I mean, right now, there's a 36 by 24, 38 inches in height. Current bid, $9. That's a great deal. Go to Roller.bid. Check this out. Go to Roller.bid/altitude and get signed up. Local food manufacturer auctioning off some of their lightly used items. Go to Roller.bid right now. Before we get to the 5 biggest stories of the day from Broncos mini camp in just a moment, here's an update for you on that Rockies victory today. Walk-off win. Rockies had been 0-49 this season when trailing after 8 innings.
0-9.
Now 1-49.
49?
49. 0-49.
That's it.
Not 0-9. 0-49 when trailing after 8 innings.
It's good.
They lose a lot. Rockies in Atlanta tomorrow, but they avoid getting swept by the Giants, get a walk-off victory, win number 13 on the year.
I do want to revisit the Rockies' plight with you because we got to get the high five in. We also got to hear some comments from out of Giants camp. One of their receivers is really funny today. Talking about, in particular, not Russell Wilson, but Jameis Winston. That is going to be one interesting quarterback room. However, I want to talk a little bit later on in the program. What is truly roster and what is actually managing leading to this?
All right, we'll dive into that. But right now, it's time for Sean Payton. Let's do this. Mark Springer.
All right, that's it with your guys' conversation. Let's get to the high five, and let's hear from Sean Payton. Devon Vele has not been at Broncos mini camp. You guys said he was hurt. I haven't seen official confirmation on that.
Well, they don't have to give us anything about that right now, Spring. It's the off season, so they don't do injury reports. Matter of fact, they don't even necessarily have to do it during training camp. As I understand it, it was something everybody kind of knew was going on, but yeah, Sean doesn't seem concerned, apparently.
He's got a thigh.
Got a thigh.
Okay.
Thing.
Yeah.
Well, Sean was asked about Devon Vele today.
Sean, with Devon Vele, is he the only thing that's going to keep him out? Like
No. He's going to be full go. Start a training camp. Everything's good. We should be. That's it. That's it. Did you hear me?
Okay.
That's what that's it means. That means it stops. We should be. There may be one player, Perry, that might go a week into training camp and then be ready, depending on how the summer goes. But outside of that, we expect everyone back.
Yeah, so Parker Gabriel asked the question about what's going on with Vele. Sean answered it in halting fashion.
That's it.
Sounded as though Chris Thomason thought he was done with the answer. Attempted to interject with follow-up or looking for more information.
That's it. Did you hear me?
Sean Payton made it be clear, I am still talking. You shut up now.
That's what that's it means.
Well, and so I got the breakdown from Leggy, too.
Yeah?
He said Sean was starting to show where the bruise was, and then that's when that all went down.
Oh, so he was doing. He was
actually doing theater, performative art.
Prop comedy, so to speak, with his own thigh.
Yeah.
The media was hoping to see the upper leg of Sean Payton.
I don't know that
today.
we'd go that far.
Let me tell you.
He was gonna kind of zoom in on where it all was going now.
Let's get to how this ends up. Chris Thomason attempted to ask at the end again, like, what is Sean Payton's plans for the upcoming break before the start of training camp? How did this all wrap up today? This was several questions later.
Coach, do you have any plans on what you're going to do that you're willing to share over the next 5 weeks?
I have plans I'm not willing to share.
Okay.
All right, that's enough. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
He was in the midst of fake media labs. He's like, nope, I am sick of this. I am out.
That's enough.
That was, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that he used to be Patrick Smythe to be one more for the coach. I always wondered what secret signal the coach or the QB would give Smythe to let him know we're done.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Kind of like the volleyball players that signal to each other during a game. But Sean does not need Patrick Smythe. He lets you know. This one more. I'm
All right,
wrapping.
that's enough. Thank you.
What was the name of the principal in Breakfast Club?
Richard Vernon.
Yes.
That's it.
There's some serious Dick Vernon
Yes.
vibes out of Sean Payton today.
Yes.
Okay.
You want another? I got you. 2 months, Bender. I got you. Longest fingers in cinema.
Go ahead, Spring.
High five.
All right, Sean Payton was asked today how he's been able to keep the injury rate so low since he arrived in Denver and became the Broncos head coach.
Obviously, injuries are unavoidable at some point, but with the rate at which you have been good at keeping guys healthy over the last few years.
Well, when I got here, you guys were like, oh, the field's jinxed, the surface. all these myths about it must be the way that, and it was all. I can understand why it felt that way, but you have to build callus. And so we can stay healthy in the preseason and not play our starters, but I know where that's going. You have to build a callus, and there's risk when you do that. But I don't know if I answered your question.
So when he paused there, that's when I almost thought the old trainer would get called out, but then he decided to take it a different route.
Lauren Landau, the former strength and conditioning coach. Yes.
When he goes, it's all, and then he stopped himself.
And Sean doesn't want to give credit to a better playing surface at the facility. He wants to make sure he gets the credit, and his strength and conditioning staff gets the credit, thus he gets the credit.
Yeah, I don't know so much about the trainers or whatever, but it does seem this more extended time in conditioning. Because, again, I give him credit for this.
Broncos have fewer soft tissue things.
J.K. Dobbins just got here.
Yeah.
Sean wasn't all hot to trot. You know, most guys go work out at whatever gym's near Vasa 24 hour, whatever you're loyal to.
Yeah.
Sean is like, no, you're going to go work with our, because we saw it. Dobbins went and did his initial work with the strength and conditioning coaches. Then Dobbins was in there to watch how everything was going. He was listening to the calls, so on and so forth. But they're just not throwing him in there and getting a muscle injury right away. And you got to give him credit for that.
High five.
All right, so let's talk about the Broncos' new Vice President of Player Health and Performance, Bo Lowry. How is his methodology better at preventing injuries? I
think one thing I would say, and take this the right way, if there's 32 teams, it's tough for those teams to all have great confidence in the training room. Now, we promote and want second, third opinions. That's not what I'm talking about. But there might be 4. And I'm not talking about that little BS survey that I'm talking about truly. And then when you have guys like Breeze, who's retired, flying to Baton Rouge for his rehab, like that's earned over time. And it's earned by him with each individual player. And once again, you're selling. There's a trust that you believe in. And so I've been with him a long time. And that was a very important hire, like extremely important.
Yeah, it's if you're a head football coach and you feel as though our methodology is leading to fewer missed games, fewer missed practices, like that's worth its weight in gold in the NFL. Like, you're going to do anything, and that's one where you go to the richest ownership group in all the sports and you say, no matter what, I got to have this guy. And again, thus far, like the results would speak to, that's a worthwhile investment for the Broncos.
Yeah, and they're not afraid to invest a lot of money in a lot of things.
Right.
You know, we heard about the land deal yesterday. That building they're building is going to be incredible, and I imagine I wouldn't be surprised. You talk about the turf, I wouldn't be surprised if they even redo the turf when all this is done again.
Sure.
And, of course, you're going to invest in the health and conditioning staff because that's what keeps your guys on the field. So Sean's got his guys around. This thing's looking more like it did in New Orleans all the time. Look, he's proud of what he built in New Orleans. He's bringing a lot of it here, and now we'll see if a Super Bowl comes along with it.
I do like the part where he referred to the NFLPA survey as that little BS survey.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was interesting too, because that was the one that the coaching didn't get ranked highly in.
Yeah,
if I remember.
You know that thing where they ask the players their opinions?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any of that.
That's what it means.
Uh-huh. All right, go ahead, Spring.
High five.
Sean Payton was asked today how he has seen Bo Nix take another step in offseason practices so far. You're number 2 for Bo.
Less pause, less hesitation with the play call in the huddle. Less pause, less hesitation in the pocket. He's playing fast. And again, protecting the ball. He's hard to sack. He was hard to sack in college. So you're seeing him play faster. More confidence.
I think if Sean would take some of Bo Nix's advice and have less pause and less hesitation. There wouldn't be as many awkward moments during the press conference today.
Sure.
But also, yes, this is what a quarterback is supposed to do going into year number 2. This is where you take the thought process out of things. This is where the player then just simply reacts, and I think that's what Bo Nix is turning into. That's the step that you're supposed to see right now. It's good to hear Sean talking about that.
Well, but he also told something to the media. Can you play the cut that you listed there, Spring? You got to hear this cut, because I do think it was funny. Here's what I love. Sean did not go overboard about the get-together, because, again, we had to – feels like you almost have to ask, is Bo getting the guys together, and then we all have to worry about it? Here was Sean's
the
thoughts.
off-season throwing camp.
Yeah, here were Sean's thoughts.
Sean, what's the value of Bo getting guys together?
Nix or Lowry?
Bo and Nix getting guys together to work out and hang out in their time away?
I think most teams do it. Drew, have them come to San Diego. These guys will go work out 3 days. I think it's just spending time together, and I don't think it's unusual. And so, yeah, that's their time. And it's not our time to report on it either.
So there it is at the end.
Leave him alone.
Don't you go stalking my players.
You bunch
know what?
of
At the end of the day, see, if we could get what I really would like to find out from a Sean Payton, if we could get him in a better mood than we had this week. Because he had a Drew Brees. Again, if you got a Brees, you got a Brady. Maybe with the Packers, it was Rodgers. Pick your quarterback in the Mahomes. Burrow, whatever. Let those guys go have their throwing camps, because guess what? They're running that offense. They're in charge.
Yeah, they know what they're doing now.
Some are even calling plays at the line.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, does Sean want his guys going? And Sean, as most offensive coordinators are, a little bit controlling about his offense. Do you want them going out there running routes that you're not supervising?
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want you getting something wrong in your head I got to then fix in camp. I just feel like that thing is one of the things we make way too big a deal about it. When Brady and Manning do it, fine. It's a different deal.
Yeah.
But when you expect every other single quarterback to do it, and look, I think it's great if Bo wants to take the guys out and they want to go hit a resort in Cancun and just be dudes and ride boats or whatever he was doing when they skipped the Pro Bowl, cool. Bonding's great.
Sure.
But this pressure to have these guys get together and run around unsupervised.
It's a good point. It's almost like you're a loser if you don't do it as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, but why? What are they really going to get accomplished? Do you know what I mean?
Right. It's a way to get together and work out for a couple of days.
And for people wondering where this comes from, I've talked to Tyler about this plenty, which led me to ask other NFL guys that I know, and they've all said, again, if you don't have the dude running it's just wasted time.
Yeah.
Let's go hang out and be bros. Plus, not everybody's got the sweet San Diego field. He did mention Drew would do it. Drew had a field in San Diego, too, I'm assuming, because he had a nice house there when he started his career there.
Yeah. Where do they go for Bo Nix? Alabama? Hang out at his dad's house or whatever? I would assume that Bo Nix probably has a cool pad by now. Actually, yeah, didn't he? He bought a sweet place last year here.
Here. He's living here.
It's not in a tropical location.
You got to have – do you have the timeshare that you got to call Chuck Bobby there to get you out of? Does Bo Nix have trouble getting out
with his timeshare?
With his timeshare.
I like the part, too, where Sean Payton didn't realize which Bo he was talking about.
Yeah, that made me laugh, too. But
Nix or Lowry?
He had just gotten done talking about Lowry.
Jackson or Bridges?
Bo Bridges, good pull.
Derek or Diddley?
Yeah, I was about to say. Diddley. Look at you. You're hitting all the 80s.
Deep
what
cuts.
other 80 Bows do you want to go to?
Bo Schembechler.
Nice.
Or
there's a good one.
Former Cincinnati Reds catcher Bo Diaz.
Name some Bows.
I'm running out of bows really quickly.
Sneaky Hembo.
went as far as I could. It's the Kreckman and Lindahl show. We're rolling with you here. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, you got a Rockies question for me. I have an NBA question for you. Any questions you may have for us? 303-504-0925. Bo Outlaw, former Clipper Bo Outlaw.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you. Any more Bows? Anyway, keep it here.
All right, that's enough. Thank you.
3-2. It's a base hit. McMahon around third. He'll score easily. The Rockies have walked off the Giants. Boy, did they ever need that.
That's it.
Win number 13 on the 12th of June. Rocks walk it off today. Orlando Arcia, the hero. They come back and win it 8-7. Giants bullpen implodes. Colorado victorious. They're able to overcome another terrible Antonio Senzatella start off to Atlanta over the weekend. They do not get swept by the Giants. Andy, they managed to get a win on the homestand before heading off on the road.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, and I said this with DMac before. I promise you Warren Schaefer is the Rockies manager next year.
No, I think you're right, but
can you see a world where a Rockies lifer who has been given the unenviable task of leading the worst team in Major League history, where they're not just going to look at him and say, we like the direction it went. We know you're our guy. We know you're loyal. You've only ever been in this organization literally your entire life. That's basically the only criteria we ever have to hire anybody. So naturally, Warren Schaefer, you're our dude.
There's no chance he says no either, right? He's wanted it the whole time.
It's 1 of 30, Andy, and there's not going to be a single other club in baseball that's trying to hire him.
Okay, so my question to you is this: how much of the losing has been managerial? How much of it, and whether you want to point to Bud Black or now Warren Schaefer, you guys, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I was hearing a discussion earlier today to the point where I thought about actually getting, reaching out to Jason Hirsch or somebody just to tell me how many times is it just bad decisions in your mind? Again, you don't pull the pitcher at the right time. Where I really struggle with this is I don't know that you have a lot of major league players that you're working with to begin with. And I always felt bad for Walt Weiss at times, and I get it. Walt got promoted from high school to the big leagues, and there's a lot of people bitter about that. But Walt at least had played. But the team they gave Walt Weiss now is better than this team, if I'm not mistaken, and at least more talent for him to work with.
No, this is the worst team in franchise history.
Right. But Walt Weiss would come out of the dugout because I was working those games, and I was like, who would I even ask for right now? And I feel like it's even worse at this point. The bullpen did have a good, 2-week, 3-week stretch there where they were kind of getting guys out. And then this week it's been rough. The offensive this is classic Rockies now. I feel like we've fallen into a classic Rockies pattern of when they hit, they don't pitch, and when they pitch, they don't hit.
I mean, this week was unlucky, right? Like your bullpen implodes in consecutive games. Like Agnos is in a brutal stretch, and he was bad Tuesday and Wednesday. The crazy thing about the Tuesday game was your bullpen had been great all night long, and then you blow it late. But also, this is another. Here's a part of it. Okay, this happens to every club in baseball. Every team in baseball has a week where their bullpen sucks, right? But you're able to overcome that because there's other good parts of your ball club. And it's just sort of it's just expected. Sometimes you're going to lose 2-3 games in a row. Even the best teams in baseball do that, okay? Right now, in my opinion, and I know DMac would lose his mind over this, in my opinion, the Rockies' struggles have absolutely nothing to do with the manager, have nothing to do with managerial decision-making or anything else. Again, I'll go back to Dave Roberts' comment after his buddy Bud Black was fired of Casey Stengel couldn't have gotten wins out of this ball club right now. This is the worst collection of major league talent that I've ever seen in my life. Managing quality decision-making, could it help a couple of things around the margins? Yes, but ultimately, 1 through 162, your win total is determined by your talent level in this sport, and they don't have any. So I don't think it has anything to do with who is managing this club. The strikeout rates, the lack of walks, all that stuff, again, you could have the greatest hitting coach in the history of the game. You could have Ted Williams sitting there instructing these guys on what to do. They're not major league hitters yet. This is why this club sucks this much. They'll walk more and they'll strike out less and they'll hit more home runs when you get better players or when the younger guys will actually develop into decent major leaguers. But right now, the Rockies' current woes had nothing to do with Bud Black and had nothing to do with Warren Schaefer. It was 100% about the roster that was built this year.
How long does it take to fix this? I was having a debate with Scotty about this a little bit.
I don't.
To me, this feels like you could be 5 to 7 years away.
I don't.
Because you got to rebuild the farm system too.
Yeah, I don't see a path out of it.
Here's the problem, man. The problem is all their players that are worth anything for the most part are already up here. If they're close enough to being ready, they're up here, and this is what you're getting.
Again, like I cannot emphasize enough. Like Germán Marquez, Kyle Freeland, Jake Bird, Seth Halverson, Victor Vodnik, like all these guys. Okay, Tyler Kinley. Trade them all.
Yeah.
Like trade everybody. You're already an embarrassment. It can't get any worse than you currently are. See what you can get for McMahon if it's humanly possible to be able to trade him. I don't think his trade value is really all that great. Like, you know what? Don't move Tovar. That's a good young major leaguer. Hunter Goodman is a nice player. Jordan Beck's a nice player. Brenton Doyle, very good defensive center fielder and an average at best hitter.
Yeah, here's my problem, though. I mean, again, this thing is so systematic. Like, I think for those of us that have been around it for a while, and I think for those that really follow the team closely, and I think there's still plenty of people out there that want to,
yeah,
whether they show up to games or not.
People want the Rocks to be good.
There's a lot of bleeding Rocky fans out there, but to me, you're so systematically broken. I've just talked to too many guys that have played for that organization, and we've already heard the stuff about what's going on now. We don't even talk about what's going on. Like, they don't have a single philosophy that they coach throughout is what I keep getting told. Like, you'll go to different destinations and it's different thoughts about how to get, you need to get like the guy in charge and here's what we're doing and here's what we're coaching and here's how we're doing it. And it's got to be that way from your short season ball all the way to the time you get here. And they don't have that.
Right now in your everyday lineup, at the moment, you have 4 out of 9 guys that you put in your lineup every single day that have a WAR that is positive, like not negative, not below average. That's Hunter Goodman is a 1.3 win player right now. Ezekiel Tovar is up to 0.6. Some of that had to do with his health. I think if he can stay healthy and stay on the field, his number will look good by the time the season's all done. He'll be hopefully like a 3-win player by the time the season is done. Ryan McMahon's at 1.5. That is almost all defensive value right there because his hitting metrics suck. He has a 710 OPS. My God. I know he hit a couple of home runs on the homestand, and Jordan Beck has good numbers. That's it. Everything else is way below league average. There again, Andy, there's no manager on the planet that could win with this.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And again, the pitching that you have of value, Freeland and Marquez, you have to move them. I think either one of those guys can be a 4th starter in a major league rotation. You will get offers. You have to trade them. You have to trade them right now.
Yeah, you don't want them getting hurt.
No, and you need
or you don't need a complete blow up either, frankly.
You got to acquire pieces, prospects all over the place because this thing is nowhere close to being good.
That's it.
I have got an update from the NHL. We got awards, Andy.
Yeah, I saw this.
Are you ready for this?
I am.
All right, here you go. Your NHL 24-25 first and second All-Star teams. This is like the All-NBA for the NHL or the All-Pro for the NHL. Here we go. Your first All-Star team in the NHL. At center, Nathan MacKinnon.
Yahtzee.
Hell yeah.
His name's Nathan MacKinnon. Heard of him?
I sure have. He is between Nikita Kucherov and Kyle Connor of the Winnipeg Jets. Your defensive core, Zach Werenski, and the best person in the world, Cale Makar.
The best person in the world, Cale Makar.
He just took home the Norris.
Yep.
You don't have a choice, pal.
Connor Hellebuck is the goaltender for the NHL first All-Star team. But way to go, Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar, both members of the NHL first All-Star team this season.
Well, we've got the final voting here as well for the Hart Trophy.
Okay.
And your Hart Trophy winner, you know what? Let's go backwards.
Okay.
Number 5, Jack Eichel. Actually, should have started at 6 because Kale was in there at number 6.
Kale was 6. Okay.
108 points for Kale, 150 points for Jack Eichel.
Okay.
Number 4, Nathan McKinnon with 972 points.
McKinnon was 4th, so that's why he wasn't a finalist. Because
Why
he
he was
4th.
not
Okay.
a finalist.
Okay.
Still doesn't make sense to me because up until him not playing, he was.
Yeah.
He didn't play that last week of the season. Apparently, that just knocked him out.
Okay.
Kucherov comes in 3rd
All right.
with 973. And your Hart Trophy winner for the 24-25 season, Connor Hellebuck with 1,346 points.
Wait, who was second?
Leon Draisaitl at 1,209.
Okay, so explain this to me. Why is McKinnon then first All-Star team, but Draisaitl is second All-Star team?
No idea.
Even though Draisaitl finished above McKinnon in the Hart. Is this like the Lamar Jackson was first team All-Pro, but Josh Allen was the MVP thing?
Yeah, let's see here. So McKinnon got 27 first-place votes, 33 second, 62 third, 54th, 11 fifth.
All right.
81 first place votes went to Hellebuck. 53 go to Draisaitl in first place votes, pretty much doubling up McKinnon at 27.
Okay.
And 58 second place to the 33 for McKinnon. This is all the Hart Trophy voting numbers.
Okay.
So,
all right. Okay. I'll take their word for it. By the way, your second All-Star team, Draisaitl between Pasternak and Hagel, Victor Hedman, Quinn Hughes, Andre Vasilevsky. I got a couple of tweets here from Avs VP of PR, the great Brendan McNicholas over here. McKinnon and Makar, Andy, first Avalanche teammates to both be named NHL first All-Star team since 01-02 when Sakic and Waugh did it. I'm surprised McKinnon and Makar both hadn't done it before. That's news to me. By the way, the Avs are the first team to have both a forward and a defenseman on the NHL first All-Star team since the 17-18 Tampa Bay Lightning. That was Kucher and Victor Hedman.
yeah, you're getting me to think what happened in 22. They both weren't first teamers?
I guess not. Apparently. I suppose. I guess not.
Who would have been the second teamer?
So wait, was Makar's second team last year? Because last year McKinnon won the Hart. Which
Well, we just learned that means nothing.
Yeah, that is also true.
McKinnon won the Hart, but Draisaitl was first team last year is probably what happened.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I don't know.
Yeah, Hellebuck gets the both the Hart and the Vezina this year. So way to go, Connor Hellebuck. He has won the Hart and the Vezina. As you know, Andy, I hate when guys that have specific positional awards then take the award away from other guys.
So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring that up. When it's the Cy Young, when it's the Vezina, you kind of have your thing, right?
That's what I'm saying. I don't like when pitchers win MVP. I don't like when goalies win the Hart Trophy. No, you have a Vezina. That's for you.
Well, and you've got a very specific duty. Like goalies are the only guys that play the whole game, in theory.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody else is taking shifts and so on and so forth. The goalies, if you don't get yanked, get to play the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Thus helping the numbers.
Yeah, they don't have like a best forward award.
Right.
I mean, they have the Art Ross if you win, if you score the most points.
Selke for best defensive forward,
yeah, if
right?
you're the best defensive forward, but that's almost never a Hart Trophy winner. I don't know who won the Selke this year, by the way. I couldn't tell.
Do we even know yet, Spring?
Spring, do we get a Selke award winner? Do we know of?
No.
We don't. Okay.
Sean Payton. No.
We
probably do, honestly.
I'm sure
I don't know.
somebody won it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, do you dial in? Do you dial into the Selke
For the
way?
Selke?
Who are you more worried about, Selke or Messier?
Oh, way more than Messier.
Yeah, me too.
I'm far more
We're
concerned.
so worried about the Messier, we needed a listener to point out the Messier had been awarded.
We want Jonathan Taves to end up with the Avalanche.
Yes, we do.
Because he's a Messier award winner.
And then we can ask him at the introductory press conference, what did it mean to your career to win the Messier?
Where do you
Barkov
keep
won.
your Messier? Barkov won the
Barkov
Messier?
won. All right.
Back to back.
Okay.
Wow.
Wait, did he win the Selke or the Messier?
He won the Selke.
No.
Okay.
Our guy Ovechkin won the Messier.
Ovechkin won the
Don't
Messier.
forget about that.
You're right.
Ovi. Hey, when I think of Mark Messier, I think scoring and Ovechkin.
That's it.
Here you go, pal. Here's a dish.
Okay.
Wonder what the Messier looks like now. Does he invest money to get the big, heavy, like Heisman looking trophy thing, or the butt kiss?
Well, wouldn't it just be a giant bust of his huge bald head?
Just smiling.
There you go. Put this on your mantle.
Put this on your mantle. It's me.
Have this stare at you every single day.
Do you both? Does he pay for smaller heads so they can be together, you and him? Same plaque though.
What if it's like you get like a Hawaiian shirt with just a bunch of bald Messier heads on it?
Now you need the karate trophy. Now maybe it's like the All Valley trophy that Daniel LaRusso took from Johnny with the illegal maneuver at the end where it's got tears.
Is it Messier in his hockey gear doing karate moves?
Yes. Crane technique.
Crane kick.
Stick off to the side.
With skates.
Blade up, which is a clear foul.
And he'll slice your nose off.
Yeah.
Look out, everybody. Anyway, we're the Kreckman and Lindahl Show, and we're obsessed with the Mark Messier Award. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I got a real, speaking of, we mentioned first take and get up before. I got a real first take, get up type of question for you about these NBA Finals. And I'll expand on it because I need to know where Nikola Jokic stands in this conversation. That's coming up next. Oh, big day. McKinnon and McCarr, first NHL All-Star team.
Rock's get a win.
Rock's got a victory today. Broncos wrapped up mini camp today.
Food trucks were had by all.
That's right.
So is that a salt or a sugar day?
It's a great question.
You brought up that because it was not supposed to be a sugar day, but then the food trucks showed up.
Were any donut trucks? Any churro trucks?
It's a great question. Let me go to Mike Kliss's tweet and take a look at what we had available.
Was there an ice cream truck?
No,
out
I don't
there?
believe
You didn't
there's
see
no
one of
way
those.
that's happening.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's. What do we got here? Do we got a good taco truck? Hopefully.
Let's see. I'm looking at. Cannot read what the heck they are, but they look like you're run-of-the-mill food trucks there, Nate.
Okay, so they could be anything. Yes, remember.
One is definitely like a barbecue-style truck, it looks like.
Well, that's savory, without a doubt. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. 2 or 3.
If you recall, earlier in the week, Sean Payton said
yesterday
they wouldn't be taking the third day off. It's what did he say? It's a salt day, not a sugar day?
It's a salt day, not a sugar day. The sugar days ended in 2011 with the collective bargaining agreement.
By the way, Kliss managed to point out that Fangio still had him.
Yeah, and then he goes, well.
Yeah.
By the way, Mike Kliss just tweeting.
Yeah.
And I bring this up, not totally a shock. The Broncos are not going to sign any of the tryout players you and I saw. A lot of offensive guys, it felt like. But it did include among them Will Shepard of CU, who was wearing number 87 yesterday.
All right, so best
of luck. They will
to,
not sign any of them at this point.
Yeah, best of luck to Will Shepard as he continues to shepherd his way through a football career. We're rooting for him. He was a really, really good college receiver. Last night, Pacers get the win in Game 3. This NBA Finals, Andy, I don't know if you've heard, a little bit of a small market NBA Finals. It's affecting TV viewership, all that good stuff, and whatever. Okay, here's my question for you: Tyrese Halliburton plays for the Olympic team, has taken his team to the NBA Finals. He's kind of taken the NBA by storm this postseason. I mean, unbelievable shots that he has made along the way. The choke symbol, all that good stuff. Reggie Miller and his family dancing in the living room, like. There's a good story there going on with Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers. All right. We know how the NBA ecosystem works. Has Tyrese Halliburton transcended whatever his prior stature was, whatever his market size, all that? Is Tyrese Halliburton an NBA superstar?
It is a good question.
Mm-hmm. Thought you'd like this one.
What's the tier below superstar? Just star? Not super?
Right, yeah. He's, without a doubt, he's an elite player.
Yeah, but he's not in the MVP conversation. You got to enter the MVP conversation, don't you?
Doesn't superstar convey a certain amount of notoriety around you?
Yes.
Quite honestly, is Shea a superstar?
It's a great question.
He won an MVP.
He did. But
he was second in the MVP a year ago, but again, he plays in Oklahoma City. The NBA, I know, still is selling LeBron James and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and the last generation of stars. Luka Doncic, I would say, is in superstar territory. I would say Giannis is in superstar territory. I would say Anthony Edwards is in superstar territory. He's in movies and stuff.
Yeah, is Halliburton moved into on the NBA promo when NBC gets kicked up and warmed up with their John Tesh to start promoting the league on their network? Is Halliburton going to be in the clips? Maybe. I think SGA will be.
Jokic, winning 3 MVPs, he kicked down the door of superstar.
And an MVP, a Finals MVP.
A
that
Finals
helps
MVP,
as well.
And people now know him and generally like him.
They do.
Yeah, it's the old proverbial, does your aunt know who Nikola Jokic is?
Sure.
She probably does by now.
And that he likes horses.
Right, exactly. He's got that going for him. He's got crossover cachet. It's funny. I don't know if Shea does yet. I really don't know if Halliburton does.
I think Shea's closer than Halliburton. Though.
Without a doubt.
Here's the thing.
Winning an MVP goes a long way.
Shea has national commentators on his side pushing his campaign. I don't think Halliburton does quite yet.
Not quite. No. No.
Remember, Halliburton was the guy voted most overrated player to start the season.
Well, no, it was at the start of the postseason when he was voted that, and then all
Well,
he's
it was
done
start
is
of the season too.
no, it's all
No?
all he's done is take his team to the NBA Finals. Like, that's a great story, by the way. That's like an objectively great story. Like, here's an anonymous player poll that came out a couple of months ago, and it says you're the most overrated player in the NBA, and you have since then taken your game to another level and led your team to the NBA Finals.
Does he like the poll any more than Sean Payton?
The BS player poll.
That BS poll.
Whatever that thing was. I'm trying to think. Was Halliburton...
Was he was an all-star, right?
He was an all-star. I mean, he was on the Olympic team, but he didn't really play.
Right.
Let's see. Was he what all NBA team was he this season? He was third team.
Okay.
Third team all NBA. Okay, so here, let's as a for instance, here's your third team all NBA. Cade Cunningham, great player, not a superstar. Tyrese Halliburton, James Harden, superstar.
Yep.
Karl Anthony Towns.
He's in the same tier as Halliburton.
Yeah, it feels generous to call him a superstar. Yeah. And Jalen Williams of the Thunder, who I won't call a superstar.
Here's my
he's
thing for Halliburton, okay? The way I feel, Halliburton's on the radar.
Yep.
Okay? You've announced your arrival to everybody. Now they watch you again next year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Nikola did that with his first MVP. All right, he's not going to do it again. Oh, wait, yes, he is.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Who was that guy that kept telling me he wasn't going to win another one?
Me. And then I think you didn't fight me for 3 in a row.
Right.
But he did get finals MVP.
That year, and then he got MVP again the next year.
Yes.
Yes. He's up to 3 of them.
And even through most of last year, I didn't expect him to win it, and yet he did again. The
Right.
numbers were just too good. And yet this is the year I thought he should have got it because this was the most incredible ever.
And
he
yet,
put it all together.
This was the year, like, really, the narrative was never on his side
No.
this year. The entire time it was, well, look at the Thunder's record. You got to give it to Shea.
SGA's turn. It's SGA's turn.
Very
and we're like,
much so.
This dude is dragging a team to a top 4 seed by himself. He's scoring. You all wanted scoring. Now he's giving you the scoring.
It's. I just love, like, when you think back on that team. And again, I'm watching a game last night where I'm watching, Benedict Mathurin come off the bench and pour in 27. Toppin's high-flying his way around the floor. TJ McConnell in his short shorts are just making sweet steals all over the place last night. And it's just like, God, what if Jokic just had guys on his bench that look like that? That'd really be something, wouldn't it? It's unbelievable that he had the Oklahoma City Thunder 1 win away from going home in May.
Yes.
Give the guy the MVP.
It is. Yes.
It's insanity. Absolute insanity. First team All-NBA this year, by the way, was Giannis, Shea, Joker, Donovan Mitchell, and Jason Tatum. Yeah, those are all superstars. Unfortunately.
How about the second team?
Jason Tatum's going to be up
Let's debate. Should he have moved up to the second team? I don't think you're going to give me a team or a guy that I would.
Second team, Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Evan Mobley. Mobley won Defensive Player of the Year, but I wouldn't call him a superstar. He's a great player, not a superstar. Is Jalen Brunson a superstar?
That's a great question. If
Plays
he wasn't
in
in New York,
Yeah.
he wouldn't be.
Right, exactly. Like when he was in Dallas, nobody thought he
Right.
was. Granted, his game took off when he got to New York.
No, but see, he's another guy in my mind for the rest of us. Okay, you're on the radar.
Yeah.
But because he's a Knick and they desperately want a Knick to be part
Sure.
of this whole thing, he's a superstar.
He was the
for them.
clutch player of the year this year.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Look, I'd take him as a Nugget in a heartbeat, but I'm just saying.
I would take all of them to be on the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, though I'd take the all NBA team to be part of the Nuggets. That's fair.
Spring, what would Sean Payton say about the end of this radio show today?
That's it.
Yeah.
That is indeed
Are you sure,
it.
Sean?
That's it. Did you hear me?
I heard you. Mm-hmm.
That's what "that's it" means.
All right. Well, that's it then. Goodbye.
Are you
All
ready
right, that's
for?
enough. Thank you.
We got a Ska Friday coming up tomorrow. We're very much looking forward to that. We got hockey. For whatever reason, Andy, we're watching college steeplechase again.
Yes, it is.
That's it.
Find some sports to watch, folks. But yes, keep it right here on Altitude Sports Radio because coming up next, Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Panth Oil right now. NHL playoffs on Altitude Sports Radio powered by Mountain Hyundai. Good night.
That's what "that's it" means.